Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Wendy Bill Radio is live.
Why does it never get old? You know what today is?
Hump day!
It is hump day. I know. It's very exciting. We say the same thing every single Wednesday, but I love
Wednesday.
it. Oh, let's see. What'd you say last Wednesday? Except last Wednesday when Brock forgot. Yeah, I know. It's hard to find good help.
I know.
Hard to find good help. Anywho, how are you guys doing?
That's hurtful.
It's not.
It's early and hurtful.
It is early, I know. I'm trying to create the illusion that I'm not Casper the Friendly Ghost here, but the war paint isn't really making it happen. I'm just being honest with you all. I'm trying. Let's see. Did that move the needle? No. Okay. Well, anywho.
Are you sure? Looks great. But see, I try. I do. I get nothing.
How's everybody? What's going on? Brock, how was your night? What'd you do yesterday? Anything fun?
Yeah, I watched the cabinet meeting. I watched like a little documentary on Thomas Sowell. I got sucked in it. I didn't realize it was an hour long.
If it has to do with Thomas Sowell, it's hard not to get sucked in.
Yeah.
By the way, I concur with you that the cabinet meetings now are must-see TV.
Yeah.
It is absolutely C-SPAN, appointment watching, must-see television, absolutely. And Trump is brilliant. He gives all of his cabinet members like 3 minutes, right? Why don't we go down the line? Why don't you tell everybody what you're doing? And then what's the one thing they take out of that whole cabinet meeting? Something Donald Trump said. That's it. That's all they've got. They got nothing.
That's because everything else debunks what they're writing.
It's truly preposterous. Let me tell you guys about the wellness company, their Ultimate Spike Detox. I think this is one of those peace of mind products that I really appreciate Dr. McCullough and the frontline doctors at the wellness company putting together. We've heard about the spike protein. We've heard about all these studies, and there have been some pretty significant ones, including this one in South Korea, I think it is. It was like 8 million people, 8 million adults between 21 and 23 with this explosion of cancers, including lung, breast, and prostate cancers. So Dr. McCullough has been aware of this stuff since 2020. He tried to blow the whistle and wave the flag of mercy on what this vaccine was all about back in 2020. And when he basically got excommunicated, persona non grata in the medical field because he did that, he decided to do something important. And he joined with the wellness company to create the Ultimate Spike Detox. This is designed to help your body clear these spike proteins, cut down on the inflammation, support your heart's health with natural ingredients like nattokinase, dandelion root, bromelain. This is your daily proactive defense from a man-made virus. So don't wait until the symptoms strike or something unexpected happens. Experience the only formula approved and used by Dr. McCullough. Look, he considers himself vaccine injured. He got some weird gluten allergy after he got vaccinated, I believe, or after he got COVID or something. Go to twc.health/Wendy. Use my name. You're going to get 10% off. This is a big deal. twc.health/Wendy and use my name. Again, this is the Ultimate Spike Detox. I mean, taking proactive care of yourself or maybe somebody you love might be the greatest gift you get them this whole Christmas season. So it's great to be with you. I'm so excited. We were number 5 on the leaderboard. My boyfriend, Alan, tells me. Little slow on the draw here, just 1,000 rumbles. If you're new, that is the name of the game. It's that thumbs up box, the bubble right underneath the video box. You'll see it. That and the follow button. How are we doing with the follows? We're at 75.7. Is that right?
75,755. So we could get, if we get enough followers, 75.8 today.
If you haven't followed us yet, it is that button right next to the red WBR Army button. we're not going to do anything. We're not going to spam you. We're not going to use your information. We don't connect with you at all, but we do alert you when we're live. And that would happen a maximum of 7 times a week, once every day, plus the pet show on Saturdays. And probably this Sunday, we might end up doing weekends with Wendy at 7 a.m. on Sunday, crown and all. And that's when you get alerted. It just says, hey, if you're not aware, they're on. And if you don't care, you just swipe it away. That's it. And you can help us point horror and get ever closer.
Wait, they wouldn't care. What?
To the 100,000 mark. What now? They wouldn't care?
Why are you saying
Well,
they
I
wouldn't
don't
care?
know. I don't know. I'm not so sure why
I'd be
anybody
like,
would.
oh my gosh, Wendy Bell's live. Let me hurry up and click on
I
it.
don't know why anybody would wake up in the morning on a Sunday but people do, which is just kind of mind bending. What's going on, party of foul? Hi, pissed off.
Wow.
Pissed off 24/7. What's up, Tammy Hannis? And Ram Darius, good morning. By the way, some new names all the time. I love it. What's going on?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we are converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Hello, America, and greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program, wendybellradio.com. Easiest way to follow along. The live video stream is up. It is live all 3 hours. We invite you to join with us. Join our army. Join in the live chat. Just be here because my, all of these fake news narratives that the left is trying to throw at this administration, at this president or people in his cabinet, they're being debunked very quickly, and they're being debunked by each other. It's just this wild time to be alive. And I'm so delighted that you are here with us. So we're going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about the attacks on Pete Hegseth. And he's not backing down, nor is this president. And we're going to drop on you the singular word that the mainstream media heard yesterday out of 2-hour live cabinet meeting. One word that Donald Trump said that has now triggered their fury. God, does he own them, and it is delicious to watch. Welcome home, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, we're going to get into all of the news of the day. This Somalian thing going on is just, I think what we're hearing is just the tip of the iceberg. This is sort of like the Schumer shutdown, when something happens that forces other stories to start breaking. And then we begin to see, oh my gosh, how much we've been ripped off, how much we've been stolen from, all of this stuff that's going on. And the Somalian folks, are they the only people ripping us off? No, but they are pretty good at it. Or Tim Walz and Minnesota are pretty terrible at stopping it. One way or another, it's coming out, and it is pulling that thread in the tapestry where everything is starting to unravel. I want to bring you something, though, that I think is very important. And it's a story Brock was talking about this morning. I hadn't heard this story. And he said, do you hear all of the people in Pennsylvania who are complaining about their water bill? I'm like, don't get me started on the freaking water bill, okay? Because I made the decision with my husband to drop a ton of money on some landscaping this summer. And we decided to have it put in just when this 98-degree snap of barren, like arid, dry, parched earth, weather, scorching sun. So literally we were out there watering all the time so we didn't lose these plants and flowers. Well, I won't tell you what the bill was, but it was outrageous. I didn't know for some people it was 600% more than it's been. I'm like, wait, what? What story is this? So everybody's kind of talking about affordability right now. That's the big thing. Affordability, affordability, affordability. It's going to be the crux of the midterms. Any Republican out there who either is running for office, running for reelection, or actually gives a rip ought to be really digging into this affordability idea. Because what we're experiencing, of course, is the after effects of 4 years of Joe Biden, 4 years of Democrats in charge, 4 years of taxes going up, of the Keystone Pipeline being closed, of all these things going haywire. And now we're getting all of the residual effects of that. Well, in Pennsylvania, it's a real slaughter. And I'm going to read you the story from CBS News. Brett and Megan Hamilton are frustrated over what they say is a skyrocketing increase in their sewer bill from $70 to $344 a month. And they're charging us for a service they're not providing, said Megan. The West Bradford Township, Pennsylvania couple said in the summer of 2024, an approved rate hike for the Community Utilities of Pennsylvania by the Pennsylvania Utility Commission changed their monthly sewer billing from a $74 flat rate to a metered rate, which is based on all the water flowing into the home, with usage captured by a water meter. Now, this is different than your normal sewage rate, where you would get processed and charged for the amount of water that is getting drained out into the system and needs to be processed to get pumped back in, as we know happens. They're just saying, hey, if you turn on your faucet, you turn on your hose, you flush a toilet, you do anything, that's part of your metered rate. Even though we're not treating all of that water, we're going to charge you what? A 600% increase? Yeah. Well, they said, Brett Hamilton, he said they're not cleaning all of that water. If you turn on a hose and you leave it in the front yard for 20 minutes to water the trees or the lawn or whatever it might be, the water never reaches the wastewater system. So what exactly are we getting charged for? You guys, if you don't know by now that you have been nickeled and dimed and tariffed and taxed and bent over again and again and again, that now you look at your finances and you're like, funny, we don't have any more money. Well, the Hamiltons are cleanly aware of this, right? They say, we're not taking 15 more showers a day. We're not flushing the toilet over and over again. So how all of a sudden in the summer, when we're using water outside, are we being billed for water that's never been cleaned? People showed up to a scheduled community meeting Monday to confront the community utilities representatives over their higher bills. They've gone up about 600%. Some guy said about his sewer bill, right? How can you charge someone for a service you're not providing them on that amount of water? So now enter your utility spokesperson. Some chick comes in and she's like, her name is Karen. And Karen says, well, we've heard our customers tell us that they would be interested in an irrigation meter. And so that's not something we're against. That's something we can look into in the future. It would require a tariff for those meters, but we're open to that. Ladies and gentlemen, for the love of all that's holy, when are they going to start taxing the air that you breathe? Because that's got to be next. Well, if we're going to tax the water, we're going to charge you for a usage fee for just using your sprinkler system or what have you. Well, that's going to involve some other machinery. And we're going to have to tax you for that too, because it's going to cost more. What the hell are you paying for? And where does the money go? Well, it doesn't go to improve your services, right? It doesn't go to make your water any cleaner. It doesn't go to anything that's, I guess, that we can all see and taste and grab. But the prices for the budget for the Pennsylvania water or rather Utility Commission, have almost tripled in the last 20 years. When is enough enough? When is enough enough? When you stop using your water, when you stop turning on the spigot, when you're worried about how many loads of laundry you're doing or how long your shower is because you are literally being drained dry. That is the story of Democrats in this country, my friends. Because, the people who pass these rate hikes are Democrats. The people who vote against them and say, you know what, that's a little steep, are Republicans. And if you happen to live in a Democrat state like I do, Pennsylvania, the Democrats are in charge and the Democrats continue to charge you more. Isn't that interesting? So here we are in America feeling the effects, and talk to Generation Z, by the way, if you want to really feel the effects. We have all of these residual taxes and fees and surcharges and tariffs and all of the extras just to do what we normally did. And you know what suffers? Dreams, plans, retirement, vacations, doing things because you've been able to save up and splurge the way Joe and I were with our landscaping. We've got a generation coming through the ranks that's looking at the cost of just survival. And they're wondering, how in God's green earth am I going to get out of my parents' basement? And then, of course, the older generations mock and ridicule and say, oh, they're just lazy. There is something going on, and it's going to have to give. And what's going to have to give is the sheer cost of survival in these United States. If you're doing well, that's wonderful. But there are a lot of people out there who are panicked beyond belief. They have lost faith. They have lost hope. And in the case of Generation Z, they've lost trust in President Trump. This is not his problem. He didn't create it. But nobody's going to go back and blame Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi and the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission or Joe Biden. They're going to blame the guy who's in the chair behind the Resolute desk now. That being said, I encourage you to listen to the entirety of today's program because it is perhaps the most exciting part that we save for the very end. That moment that perhaps the clouds start to go away and the sun comes out. Trump said something yesterday that stopped me in my tracks. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one. You'll want to hear it. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Gloves Off, Trump said something, one magical word yesterday that the media are chewing on and running with today. We'll tell you what it is, how ridiculous it is, but how great that cabinet meeting was. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. We'll consider your ideas and put in an irrigation meter, but it'll cost you. Well, what the hell have we been paying for? We're not paying for extra better water. We're not paying for healing, beautiful, bubbling, natural springs. What are we paying for? Why is it now the Pennsylvania Utility Commission 20 years ago had a budget of $41 million. Today it's 104. Why? What's going on? Well, we'll see. We'll see if people are pissed enough to say, you know what? Not a chance. I can't afford a 600% increase to flush my toilets. Other than that, I've got nothing. This is the time where you're like, I don't have the money to invest in gold and silver. And I would say to you, I probably would agree. But you'd be surprised the crafty ways that you can open up your investments to precious metals. Ever since we left the gold standard in the early 70s, right? We've lost 90%, the value of a dollar. The purchasing power of a dollar has cratered. But the value of gold keeps going up and up and up. And we watch the price of silver, the value of silver. And it's amazing, right? How do you get in on this? Is it possible? Do you need to have like money stashed underneath your mattress? No. You just need to talk to the experts. My friends at Texas Bullion Exchange. WendyLovesGold.com. WendyLovesGold.com. 855-927-5557. And here's the one singular thing that makes them different. They guarantee you with what's called their principal protection program that if you sell back your gold or silver at some point in the future, you will never get back from them less than what you paid for. You will never lose money. But if you pay attention to how the values go, you will most assuredly make money. WendyLovesGold.com, 855-927-5557. I love them.
The water people were getting worse than the turnpike people.
Why? Why did you just do that? Why did you just do that? That's not very nice.
I'm just spitting facts.
I was just on the freaking turnpike.
So was I.
Yes.
For 4.5 hours.
And I can attest that it's not worth $54 to drive to, where was I? Lancaster. Beautiful. Should have cost $108 just for the privilege of riding the road.
Cost me $37.
At some point, you have to do what South Carolina does. They have a project. They toll to pay for the project, and once the project is done, the toll goes away. Shocking. Right?
Pennsylvania, Texas never go away.
That's true. There was ever a tax that was temporary to pay for something, like, for instance, in my state, we pay a tax that dates us all the way back to the 1800s, the Johnstown flood tax. Well, what was it, 100 and something years ago? The community of Johnstown flooded, I guess, and they needed to rebuild, and so they had a tax to help. Why are we still paying that tax? Literally, it was like 1896. Why are we still paying that tax? Because there's no amount of money that the Democrats can't squeeze from you that is enough. They always want more. You're getting that more. Now, everything is more. In anybody's world, should a bag of, like, Tyson chicken fries cost $14 when 3 years ago they cost $5? No. Did the chicken all of a sudden get better tasting? No. In fact, if anything, the bag shrunk, and we're going to pay triple for it. Excellent. Can I have some more? That is life under the Democrats. Republicans, conservatives believe in conserving small government, small taxes. Let's have responsible spending. Let's have projects. Let's pay for the projects, and then let's stop the tax. It's kind of novel, isn't it? And so I've long been baffled by people whose sanctimonious do-goodery makes them vote Democrat, even though it punishes them and puts them in the poorhouse in the end. Who do you have to blame? You, right? Well, President Trump yesterday, and this is magnificent about this guy, right? Yeah, Joe Biden, who didn't do anything. He didn't talk to anybody. He didn't hold any cabinet meetings. He certainly never met with the media. And if he did, it was all scripted. It was choreographed. People were picked. He had his little cheat sheet with their pictures because he didn't know who anybody was, right? Here's Donald Trump. We're going to do this every month. We're going to sit around this big table. We're going to invite the media in. We're going to do a live deal for 2 hours. And we're going to go around the table, right? Just like Thanksgiving. Phil, what's going on in your world? Right? Okay, Sally, you're next. This is exactly what the president does. So he was asked yesterday, he was talking about basically illegal immigrants ripping off America, right? It is a privilege for you to be in this country. And if you do not appreciate the privilege and you aren't somebody who wants to assimilate to our values, who doesn't love our history, who doesn't want to be a part of tomorrow, but wants to sponge off of the generosity and, quite frankly, the stupidity of the American people. Well, how about you pack your bags and get the hell out? That's pretty much what Donald Trump said yesterday in this beautiful cabinet meeting. I want you to hear what he said, because what he said then triggered a total meltdown. Listen.
And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you. Okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I can say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
I mean, like, honestly, instead of doing the ding, ding, ding at a wedding where everybody's supposed to, the bride and groom are supposed to kiss, they bang on the thing and applaud the president. Garbage, he said. Well, you knew darn well, even after all the cabinet members dropped their little 3 or 4 minutes of progress, each individually with like a breaking news nugget of progress, that it was the garbage. Ilhan Omar and her people, they're garbage. You come to our country and you bitch, and then you steal from us. Garbage. Go back home. Terry Moran, who, by the way, President Trump basically destroyed by giving him the sit down in the Oval Office. Destroyed Terry Moran and owns Terry Moran. Well, Terry is a little upset about that G word. You ready for this? Here we go.
Who is he calling garbage?
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great.
The President of the United States calls Somali Americans, including thousands of U.S. citizens, garbage. First, it's a stupid thing to say. There are about 200,000 Somali Americans, refugees, immigrants, and American-born kids, too. And they came here because they believe that America keeps her promise, that this land is big enough and brave enough to offer safety and dignity and upward mobility to hard workers and big dreamers from around the world.
Oh, Terry, shut up. They're here to steal from us, you feckless moron. Pay attention. Now, I know President Trump got you kicked off the air, and so now you're trying your stint at podcasting, showing your outrage. Tell the truth, Terry. Tell the truth, because we will. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's go. So much for that campy, cool uncle persona. Tim Walz is either an idiot or he's corrupt, or both. Next. And we've got a second part of Terry Moran. I figured we didn't want to give it to you all at once. What a dip. What a complete drip. Who's he calling garbage? Well, Terry, I'm glad that you're able to drop the gloves now and prove to everybody that you're the leftist we knew you were.
I'll call Terry garbage.
Uh-huh. It wasn't MS-13. That's not what his knuckles said. Oh, you mean the M and the S and the 1 and the 3? That whole thing? No, that wasn't MS-13. Okay, Terry. You've got to love it. All right, let me talk to you guys about Iceman. Iceman, so chefman.com/Wendy. Promo code Wendy, you're going to save 30%. This is huge. All right, here we go. There's a QR code that Brock is going to throw up here for you. So if you want to just open up your phone, it's an easy thing to do, and hover above it. You can thank me later. I just did your holiday shopping for you. Ready? Forget the panic shopping. Everything you need is at Chef Man. I made the perfect list. And with my promo code Wendy, you're going to save 30% on everything, including the indoor pizza oven. Right? Forget delivery with one-touch presets. You're going to get authentic restaurant quality pizza in minutes. There's also the Obliterator blender, not just powerful and smart. It's just toss in fruits and veggies, ice, even nuts. And you tell it what you're making and it senses what the texture should be. And it gets you to that point without you having to test it and sample it. It's like, I got you covered. Then there's the slushy maker. You want to make your kids happy. You want to make your friends happy. Yeah, the slushy maker. You can turn any party into a hit. Slushies, frozen cocktails, easy to use, and the ice cream maker. It's not just ice cream. It's ice cream, frozen yogurt, sorbet, sherbet, Italian ice, all from your own kitchen. You can customize flavors, control the ingredients, and serve up happiness in minutes. All at your fingertips at chefman.com/Wendy. Use the promo code Wendy. Save 30%. 30% is a pretty good deal. I'm very excited about this. I think the ice cream maker might be. I'm going to see if they have that on there, because if they don't have it on there right now, I'm going to get in touch with them. chefman.com/Wendy. Here we go. As seen on Wendy Bell Radio. There we go. So they're saying save 20% with code Wendy. I'm going to say, Oh, let's see. Let's see what they say here. All right. I'm going to add that to my cart. All right. Check out. The Iceman, the ice cream maker is $199.99. Check out. Come on now. But with 30% off, it's a pretty big deal. All right, let's go. All right, yeah, I'm having problems with this. I'm going to send them a message right now. I want you guys to be able to get this. Oh, my. In real time, this is what you guys get. Hey, Nick, exclamation point. Hey, ... My Chef Man promo code is not working, period. When I go to chefman.com/Wendy, it takes me to a page with a 20% off discount, not a 30% as we're advertising, ... And then if I try to enter my name as a discount code, it rejects it, period. Can you help me out? ? I know our people would love to support this business. All right. I just texted Nick because the promo code is not working for Chef Man the way it should. So we'll see if we can get you guys some remedy on that today. I love their products, and I would hate for somebody to get turned away or to be dissuaded by it by not getting 30%, because it's supposed to be 30%, not 20. I'll keep it real for y'all. All right. 1.94. We need 300 people right now to click the thumbs up underneath the video box. I'd be delighted. Yeah, aren't you excited for Tennessee, the 7th Congressional District? They didn't let that whack job who clearly hates Nashville, hates the police,
She'll run
hates
again.
country music, right? But no, I'll be your representative. No.
If the Democrats are smart, because she did as well as she did,
yeah,
they'll run someone closer to the center. But I don't know if that exists anymore.
No. Is there really a center?
No. I think you're right or left and upset either way. You know, like Gen Z.
Like
upset with Trump.
I try to struggle. I kind of struggle with whatever the extreme right is, because I've never really met these people. I don't know if they're like super duper evangelical. I don't know what that is. That they usually get lumped into that extreme right crowd, but I don't really know what extreme.
Well, you're MAGA, so you're extreme. Please, Akeem Jeffries, Timu Obama, Dollar Store Obama has told you, and Chuck Schumer has told you that you are extreme. I personally don't like being labeled, and I wish they would stop referring to me like that. But you know. My pronouns are FAFO. And you wait for 2026 when the big, beautiful bill kicks in and the taxes go down and things start becoming more affordable.
So Nick from Rumble writes on it.
Well,
this is why we love Rumble.
Wendy Bell spoke.
No, that's not. It's not what I was saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
Wow.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, by the time you finally find out that you've been screwed by some scam, what you think you got basically charged or what you lost is usually just the tip of the iceberg. Do you guys believe that it's only $1 billion that the Somali community has managed to swindle, not just from Minnesota, but from American taxpayers? I mean, I want you to think just for a minute. Let's just think logically. And I know common sense has flown out the window, but let's just think about this in a rudimentary arithmetic way, right? I am no math scholar. One guy, Somalian guy, claimed that he was feeding 18,000 people a day. He was serving 18,000 meals a day from this small little restaurant in Minneapolis. Now, inside the restaurant, if anybody dared to peer inside the window, there's seating for about 20, right? You're not talking about a huge kitchen. You're not talking about some convention center apparatus of cranking out nutrition, right? This is one dude, some pots and pans, and a big claim, 18,000 meals during COVID. People weren't supposed to leave their homes, remember? You were supposed to stay home and stay calm and stay safe. And he said, I'll feed America. I'll do this. 18,000, 7 months. That's what he said he did. 18,000 meals a day. So if he was doing that, that would mean he would be making basically 750 meals an hour every single hour, 24 hours a day for 7 months. And for that, he received millions of dollars. What a good guy. Well, first of all, there aren't even 18,000 people in his area to feed, let alone the absolute impossibility of just those ridiculous numbers. But the fraud was so easy, there was virtually no oversight, that it almost seemed permissible, that the Minnesota government was like, right on. Thank you for your service, right? And now, $1 billion of COVID funding later, stolen, we're hearing the number could be, quite frankly, 6 to 10 billion. Who's surprised? And you out there, you're like, what? They did what? No, of course not. No. Now, CBS News in Minnesota, they're finding some connections now. See, it's not just enough that some of these folks with the Feeding Our Future scam, these Somalian citizens, these folks who came to America to grift off of our generosity, basically 78 out of 86 of the indicted defendants are Somalian. They're also double dipping in the autism scam. Like, it wasn't enough that they were making millions and millions of dollars lying about serving 18,000 meals a day, which is totally preposterous. They also were claiming that all of these Somalian children who were imported under Joe Biden were autistic. All of them. Oh my goodness. Thousands of them. And all of these autism treatment centers popped up all over the place. Yes, more money, autism. We have to fix it. Let's go. Oh boy, they're connected. Get out of town. Here's your CBS News story as feds raid the homes of some of these foreigners who President Trump calls garbage.
It's a familiar sight in Minnesota. This exclusive video shows FBI agents walking out with boxes of evidence.
And that is absolutely something that our community cannot sustain.
one of 2 facilities raided on Thursday: Star Autism Center's office in St. Cloud and Smart Therapy Center in Minneapolis. Familiar because this is what it looked like when agents raided homes connected to the largest pandemic fraud case in the country. And new court documents show at least a dozen of the defendants charged for their role in the Feeding Our Future scheme owned, received money from, or were associated with autism clinics. In this case, the alleged scheme boils down to charging Medicaid millions for care they didn't actually provide. Since 2017, Medicaid reimbursement claims in Minnesota skyrocketed from just under $2 million to more than $250 million.
Insurance is driving what providers are providing as opposed to what patients need.
A major fear of Ellie Wilson, the executive director of Autism Society of Minnesota. According to the search warrant, many of the kids receiving autism services at Smart Therapy did not appear to be autistic. The warrant alleges Smart Therapy hired young relatives who had no formal education and who were usually just on their phones all day.
I mean, it's stunningly lugubrious, isn't it? I mean, like, literally, that's what can you say? It's so ridiculous. And yet, who out there is terribly surprised? Now, that's not the greatest response. It's like responding to the Pennsylvania Utility Commission saying a 600% increase in my water fees. Well, yeah, that's not surprising. You guys are just Democrat hacks, and this is what you do. No. See, there's got to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Is it this? Rich McHugh over at News Nation says, you know what, let's go over some of the whistleblower allegations because they are stunning. The whistleblowers are people who for years have tried to blow in Tim Walz. Governor tried to tell him, hey, look, this stuff is going on. We've got these Somalian folks. We've got these other grifts going on. We're losing millions, billions of dollars. You've got to do something about it. What they say Tim Walz did, instead of listening to them, instead of investigating their allegations, he retaliated against them. He put the squeeze on them. He intimidated them, they say. Here's Rich McHugh from News Nation.
We asked, and the governor's office isn't formally commenting on these posts that were posted onto X as of yesterday by allegedly hundreds of DHS Minnesota DHS workers. I'll read some just because they're stunning in their rebuke of Governor Walz. Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let Tim Walz know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership in stopping fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. They continue. Tim Walz systematically retaliated against whistleblowers using monitoring, threats, repression, and did his best to discredit fraud reports. Instead of partnership, we got the full weight of retaliation. It's scary, isolating, and left us wondering who we can turn to.
Wow, what a warm and friendly, compassionate, kind, giving, hopeful, happy warrior group of Democrats. Aren't they so lovely? Yeah, no. Everything they tell you they are, of course, it's the opposite. It's my 180-degree rule, but you already know that, and Rich McHugh's not done. He says, recall that Tim Walz told Kristen Welker on Sunday that targeting the Somalian community is wrong and lazy. However, when we look at these 86 people already indicted, they do have some commonalities.
It's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can, but to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
Well, it's not just a few, Connell. We've talked to federal sources. They've confirmed it for us. Of the 86 that have been indicted so far, 79 of them are of Somali descent. So it's not a very small bunch. It's the majority of those who have been indicted to date.
Yeah, that'd be 92%. My little handy dandy pocket computer here tells me that 92% of the people criminally indicted for ripping off American taxpayers are Somalians. Do you think we have a problem there? Do you think Donald Trump was right to say they're garbage and so is Ilhan Omar? Rich McHugh wraps it up. He says, what about all the money going back to Somalia to fund the terror groups? Is that true? The anchor asks him. Yes,
we talked to federal sources, both current, former, and also joint terrorism sources who said, yes, This money makes its way to Somalia, and of that money, there's a cut of it that goes to an Al-Qaeda linked terror group, Al-Shabaab. They said we can't do a forensic accounting of it because we don't know once it's over there, but it's there for sure, and they were unequivocal about it when we talked to them.
So we're funding Al-Shabaab. We're paying the Taliban $40 million a week, I guess. Right? Who else? Are we also funding ISIS? Who else is out there that we could? I'm sure we are. Well, where does the money get to you? When does that happen? It's yours, and now you're looking at your money in your bank account, or you're looking at your water bill, as they are in Pennsylvania, and you say life is unaffordable. It's got to be Donald Trump's fault. He's not doing enough. What is he doing? Really? Voting Democrat has consequences. It does. And I want you to hear the second part of Terry Moran's audio soundbite that we played for you before the last segment. And it's very interesting when he continues because he says, look, he is all in on the Somalians. He is super mad that nobody in Trump's cabinet objected to the president calling those people who are ripping us off blind, calling it. Nobody in the cabinet stepped forward to be outraged by the president. Listen.
Somali Americans are working hard. They're starting businesses, paying taxes, raising families. Second, presidents should not talk like that. No decent person should call any other human being garbage. But Trump does it, not just because he is that kind of man, but for political reasons. He wants to drag people down to his level, give them permission to become the worst version of themselves and join him in remaking our country in his image. Finally, look at those people around the table in the White House. Most of them, they know better, but not a single one, not one said a word, and they never will. They sold their souls to Trump. And think of the cost.
Of the cost. And I love how he looks at the camera and he uses his breath. Imagine they know better. Imagine what they're doing. Dragging him down to his level. Hey, Terry, shut up. Sit down and put a sock in it. We didn't care about what you said when you were on ABC and Trump called you out in the Oval Office for being a lying hack. And we care about you even less today as you can run around and be, outraged. Outraged. Why are you never outraged? For what your party has done to this country. Terry, how about that? Why don't you try that on for size? Because you know what? We're not interested in your progressive lamenting. You did this. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, America's Minnesota problem is bigger than we know. Is Tim Walz State the epicenter of this illegal alien commercial driver's license fiasco where now we have randos all over the place driving tractor trailers? Well, might just be. Wait till you hear what I got from the DOT next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I hate Terry Moran. I love his sanctimonious. How dare you? Terry, you ignorant slut. Sorry. Oh, I had to. I'm sorry. Anywho, I love that Joe Biden can drone strike and kill children, right? But Pete Hegseth and the admiral in the Navy can blow up ships of narco terrorists who are in the process of delivering freaking drugs, deadly drugs to our shores, and they blow them up, and that's a war crime. Okay. You don't hate these people enough. I'm sorry. All right. Let's see what we've got. I want to tell you guys, this is very exciting. So my friend from Healthy Cell, talk about all times of the year to get one of these. Calm mood. Wouldn't you love to be able to just squeeze in your mouth like a little microgel pack of goodness, and then in 30 minutes, you're like, I feel good. I'm not so edgy. I'm not stressed out. I'm not going to snap. I'm in control. That's what this is all about. Healthy Cell is a company that allows you to get around prescription drugs. Why take a Xanax when you can do something naturally, affordably, and that's easily digested because it comes in this microgel pack, right? Why worry about taking medicine for your blood sugar if you can naturally regulate that? Because there's a healthy cell for that, right? Why take a prescription because you feel like you need to focus and you're kind of scattered, right? Why would you take something that would force you to be like, "Whoop," when you can go and get it in your system with focus and recall, have it digest 165% more absorbable than taking pills? Why would you do anything other than that? You wouldn't. And now Healthy Cell's offering a new formula. They're going to be dropping it soon. They're sending it to me so I can hold it up and share with you. And I think for me, it's going to be a game changer. It's a game changer. And it might be for you too. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. The formulations are phenomenal. Michael last night took a REM sleep. He asked me about it. He's like, it worked. And I'm like, I know. How about being able to fall asleep naturally with a little bit of this help and stay asleep and wake up and feel great? Sounds good to me. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. Soothing herbal extracts, vitamins and adaptogens, including ashwagandha, something called 5-HTP and L-theanine for relaxation and occasional stress relief. Sounds good. You don't tend to get too stressed out, do you, Brock?
No, I roll with the punches.
Yeah, you don't seem to have like ups and downs. I'll give you an up and down.
I'm agitated 24/7.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, Terry Moran does it for me.
Yeah, he is.
I agree 100% with what you said. Where's the outrage for the overtaxation? Where's the outrage?
You're paying the price for all of these things not being paid attention to.
That's why I think you start deporting these people, you start getting the fraud, you're going to watch more money flow.
100%.
Why do we need to pay $3 trillion in taxes for the government to give it away? I hate everyone.
Well, and if you look at gas prices, you can see that what Trump does, what his plans are, work.
They got to get better at marketing that. It's your states that are charging you out the nose.
Yes, I would agree. Pennsylvania, there's a gift that keeps on giving. We have some of the... Well, welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Again, as we're all feeling this financial burden that has been a cascading, downward rolling snowball for years. I mean, did anybody go to the Public Utility Commission in Pennsylvania to the hearing where those Democrats said, you know what? I think it's a great idea. Instead of charging for usage or what have you of certain kinds of water in the house, let's just charge for everything that comes in and is used. Every toilet flush, every ounce that's used on the grass, we're going to charge for everything. So everybody's rates go up 600%. Did anybody go to that meeting? No. And so then it gets passed and then it hits your inbox and you're like, wait a minute, what? It's almost like you have 5 teenagers in the house and everybody's taking an hour-long shower twice a day. No, you just weren't paying attention. So the Democrats are never about shrinking your bill, about making it more cost-effective. They're all about spend, tax, as much as possible. Well, let's focus our attention a little bit more on Minnesota, right? We're going to beat up Minnesota for a little while. Department of Transportation audit has apparently found 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled CDLs, so people who are not from Minnesota but can drive in with CDLs, were issued illegally. 1/3. Wait, what? Who has been asleep at the switch? Yeah, we all have. As though Minnesota Governor Tim Walz was not in trouble enough. The Department of Transportation has now issued Minnesota Governor Tim Walz an ultimatum following an audit in the state's commercial driver's license holders. An audit of, I should say. He can revoke the illegally issued licenses given to non-domiciled drivers or lose $30 million in federal funding for his state's highways. So, a report by the Department of Transportation found that nearly 1/3 of Minnesota's non-domiciled commercial driver's licenses were issued illegally. Minnesota, they got 30 days. Figure it out. Get those licenses back, revoke them, or you do not get federal dollars. Our audit exposes yet another example of foreigners taking advantage of Minnesota services under Governor Walz's watch. Apparently, there's some other grifts going on, and it's not just Minnesota. But since we're piling on, why not? I'm going to run and jump, and here we go. Belly flop onto the pile. How many of these illegals from Somalia or other countries that Joe Biden's autopen welcomed, enticed, lured, and in fact bribed to come into our country? How many of these people have set up their own quote unquote driver's schools where they can then churn out for a fee? How many people are coming through the doors to get these commercial driver's licenses? Yeah, don't worry about it. Minnesota isn't paying attention. It's yet another grift until somebody gets killed on a highway because somebody behind the wheel pulls a U-turn on an interstate. These decisions have consequences. It's not just monetary. This ambivalence, this disregard for the effects of criminality and corruption and bad governance and grift and waves of millions and millions of people. The lack of concern by Democrats is stunning. The audit exposed that the state of Minnesota was issuing CDLs without verifying whether the applicant was a legal citizen. And even then, providing a license valid past the date they were legally allowed to be in the United States. Basically, some of these people were supposed to be bounced. They had gotten final deportation orders. No matter, we'll keep you driving so you could be on the road rather than getting snarled and sent back to wherever you came from. Minnesota is openly and blatantly defying our rules, plain and simple. Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Derek D. Bars, I guess he's the official there, said Monday. Under the Trump administration, states have two choices: meet our standards or face the consequences. Following the law is not optional. Now, I have to wonder, what is it going to take? Because it wasn't enough to see the inside the cab video of the dude wearing the turban motoring down with a tractor trailer, not able to speak English, not able to decipher our road signs, doing a on the Florida highway. And then the minivan that you watch go blow up into the side of it. Poof. Extinguishing 3 people's lives. And the guy behind the wheel didn't even bat an eye. Garbage! When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, hour number 2, either Tim Walz is an incompetent knucklehead or he's in on it. So what do you think? Let's drill down a little deeper, friends, next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I agree with President Trump. Garbage. All right, so let me do this. I want to pull out the exact, here we go. So Alpha Gold Male is a product from Juvenon that parallels how I feel about Blood Flow 7. So Blood Flow 7 is what I take every single day, and now I'm getting everybody in my family on it, right? It's one thing for me to sit here and tell you, I take it. You should take it too. It's another thing when I order it and I give it to my children. And I say, I see you. I watch you. You haven't gotten restful sleep in God knows how long. And it's time we're going to take action. That's this, but in a formula specifically for men, which is very exciting. Alpha Gold Male. Now, if you go to bloodflow7.com/Wendy, it's going to come up with a page. It's going to be 30% off. You're going to look at it and be like, that's a great deal. But then there's going to be an item there. It's a bundle. There's this with a bottle of Alpha Gold Male. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? For the man in your life that you love and for you. I will tell you, you will get the best sleep of your life. I will tell you that all of a sudden, whatever you used to be doing in the middle of the day when you were like, doesn't happen anymore. You're like, meh, and you blaze right through. How's that possible? What is it? What's the secret sauce? It's called nitric oxide. Opens up your blood vessels, gets more blood flowing. And when more blood flow goes to your body, it is amazing what happens to your brain and other special parts of your body that you need to function. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Try the Alpha Gold Male. Supports healthy testosterone levels, balances hormones for steady vitality, boosts sexual drive and confidence, enhances strength, stamina, and endurance, and promotes better sleep and recovery. All for less than $1 a day. What? That's what I'm talking about. I won't go a day without it. That's how I feel about Crescent Mountain. Special delivery today.
And now I have to order a couple bags.
For home? Oh, for people?
Yeah. Don't tell her that's what my mother-in-law is getting.
How about that? I'm telling you what, there is no better smell in the world. Well, maybe there are. There is one. A gardenia. Crescent Mountain, also the Shazizzle. That's Brock's. We go through all of this. We go through probably, what do you think, a bag and a half a week?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm a heavy scooper. I'm not like some limp-wristed scooper. I'm like,
There's some people here that are limp-wristed scoopers.
Yes, they don't like heavy, strong coffee. I'm like,
Wendy scoops to where it puts hair in your chest.
well, I've never seen your chest, and I'm sure it's not that hairy. So there you go. Maybe it is. Blah.
Maybe with this Alpha Gold.
You'll be like,
I'll look like Sasquatch. Did I just see Sasquatch?
We've got our Simkovich Concussion Institute date coming up, isn't it?
Yeah. A week from next Monday.
I love how it has absolutely nothing to do with Brock and me. And yet we're both like, we got a big appointment coming up.
Yeah.
It's our friend who deserves the opportunity to maybe live without her hands shaking off. So that's what we're doing. The Simkovich Concussion Institute, Dr. Simkovich and Stacy, his wife, have agreed to see our friend who has terrible essential tremor. And it wasn't because of some traumatic brain injury per se. It wasn't because she fell and got concussed. But whatever is going on in her body, she's never gotten relief. Our friend is 65. She's gone through this for 40 years. And I was like, why not see if Dr. Simkovich can help you? And she's like, what? And so I reached out to them and they're like, well, absolutely, we'll see her. And so she went, and all the HIPAA stuff they do, I don't know any about. I'm none of my business, but she's gotten all of the prerequisite testing. And she's going to go in. She's got her MRI. She's got her blood work. She's done all this stuff. She's ready to rock and roll. And now it's just a matter of Dr. Simkovich putting his fingers in her mouth. And that's what it is to cure a concussion, to fix a traumatic brain injury, or maybe even to lock out these tremors. Is it going to work? I don't know. Super excited. I'm hopeful. And that's what it is. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com, 412-366-3700.
Someone asked if we put cream in our coffee. You don't need to with Crescent Mountain. Like at home,
I do.
I use a little cream and a little sweetener, but here straight black.
Mm-hmm. It's so good.
It is.
It's just so good. And look, I do not embellish. I do embellish, but when it comes to this sort of stuff, I'm like, yes, I'll tell you.
It's good.
Yes,
It's
yes.
just good. It's just my mother-in-law, when they were going through tariffs and there was going to be a tariff on coffee beans, she hurry up and ordered a couple bags of Crescent Mountain coffee. She has 1 cup a day, so it lasts her a little longer, but yeah.
I love it. Let's see how you guys are doing with the Rumbles. 2.5, let's go. All right, seriously, I love 2.77 more, but I'm not going to complain. I think that I kind of just complain. I just complain. I'm really happy with that. Let's kick it up. Come on. It's good to see you guys.
Hey, Demanda, by the way, I want to see a picture.
Did she get it?
I don't know. She said the end of November. She might have chickened out.
Demanda, did you get it? Yes or no?
The teardrop logo.
There is no teardropping of it. No.
Face tattoo.
I would punch her in the face if she did that.
Wow.
Let's go.
Wow, that
Come on,
escalated.
Demanda, get in here. Let me know what you did. Did she get a tattoo of the Wendy Bell Radio logo? I mean, who wouldn't?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
All right, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live and on the clock. And a reminder, 6 million people have already downloaded the Wendy Bell radio podcast onto their device. What are you waiting for? 6 million people are tuning in to what we say, and you're invited. Wendy Bell Radio, wherever you get your favorite listening material, join the army. We're delighted you're here. So apparently Tim Walz and all this stuff going on in Minnesota. If you paid attention at all to what has now become must-see television, right? This is called the Trump cabinet meetings. It's great. It's like a couple hours. It gives you everything that's going on. And you're like, excellent. I voted for that without this spin of the media, without them getting their pants on fire about Donald Trump calling Somalians, who are ripping off our country, garbage, and people like Ilhan Omar. Absolutely. Garbage. What has she done for America? What has she done for Minnesota? What has she done for people in her state? Because whenever I see her swaddled in whatever hell she's wearing, she's complaining about some wrong that has even befallen her or somebody else. And she's always angry and complaining, as Donald Trump says, bitching about this or that. You know what? Maybe you need to go back to Somalia, because things aren't doing so well over there. And maybe you need to take all of the people with you who've been ripping off the American people. Why don't Democrats ever get outraged? Are they always in on the grift? Because it kind of feels like that. So now we've got the Treasury Department investigating the Somalians in Minnesota and investigating Tim Walz. What did you know? When did you know it? How have you allowed so much grifting, grafting, theft, corrupt? How have you allowed it? You've literally blessed it by not listening to the whistleblowers who years ago told you, excuse me, Governor Walz, we got to tell you something. And instead of listening and making changes or investigating or doing one of flipping anything, you clown. You basically just nodded along, let it happen, and then retaliated against the whistleblowers. Sounds like a Democrat. Small Business Administration now is investigating as well. Kelly Loeffler sitting at the big oval table with the president and the rest of the cabinet yesterday, saying, you know what, we're on this too, Mr. President. Apparently, Donald Trump has told his various cabinet heads, hey, let's figure out how big this is, because it ain't just Minnesota, and they're on it. President Trump's administration is keeping its focus squarely on Minnesota, with the head of the U.S. Small Business Administration now the latest to order an investigation in the state. In a social media post, Small Business Administration Administrator Kelly Loeffler wrote, numerous individuals and nonprofits indicted in the $1 billion Minnesota COVID fraud scandal, including Feeding Our Future, received Small Business Administration PPP loans. In addition to other state and federal funding today, I have ordered an investigation into the network of Somali organizations and executives implicated in these schemes. Who's doing a dive on Ilhan Omar? That's not her last name. In fact, there's all sorts of stuff on this Congresswoman, this malignant piece of garbage, as President Trump called her. And that doesn't offend me at all. At all. What kind of person says that? Asks Terry Moran. Well, somebody who's obviously paying attention, unlike you and the media and the Democrats. Loeffler went on to accuse Walz of obstruction, although it's unclear what, if anything, she was specifically referring to. Small Business Administration supports small businesses with funding in a variety of programs. Well, it's funny. I was a small business owner back during COVID. I don't remember getting any kind of PPP assistance as Brock and I were launching this radio network by ourselves after getting shut down, fired, canceled, doxxed, basically 3 different times. I don't remember getting any money. Why is it all these Somalian groups were? Well, Kelly Loeffler is going to get to the bottom of it. I'm going to read you her tweet, and then we're going to play something for you because I think Kristi Noem is who says the best part. Kelly Loeffler in her tweet says, look, numerous individuals and nonprofits indicted in the $1 billion Minnesota COVID fraud scandal, including Feeding Our Future, received PPP loans in addition to other state and federal funding. Today, I have ordered an investigation into the network of Somali organizations and executives implicated in these schemes. Now, the Democrats' response to that is, you're just a hater. You're just a racist. You don't like people. They're darker skinned than you are. You must not like them. You must be anti-immigrant. Well, it's kind of fallen on deaf ears because they've called us every name in the book. It doesn't work anymore, and they're realizing, oh, snap. Despite Governor Walz's best efforts to obstruct, the Small Business Administration continues to work to expose abuse and hold perpetrators accountable, Kelly Loeffler said. Full stop. Well, to that, I will tell you, the Somalians are not very happy. They're coming after us. We're just poor little meek people. We're just escaping all of the third world harms. We just want a chance to give our children an opportunity. You know what? We want to do the same for our kids. But our kids are getting screwed by people like these folks who are allowed to get away with rampant and egregious fraud. Let's read about how they're upset. Apparently, the Somalian population in Minnesota, 80,000 people, which is a crap ton. They're fearful. They're worried. No, we need your help. Well, there's Terry Moran to come to the rescue. Who talks like that? Well, people who are telling the truth, Terry. From the Carmel Mall in South Minneapolis To the Dar al Farouk Islamic Center in Bloomington, there is concern among the Somali community. Good. So this has been very scary. A lot of people are very fearful, declared Khalid Omar, Adel Al Farouk board member. On Friday, President Trump announced he was terminating temporary protected status for Somali migrants in Minnesota due to fraudulent activity in the state. Well, you listen to Tim Walz, and what does he say? You can't just demonize an entire community because of a few bad apples. That's lazy. No, Governor, it's called too late, sadly. I want you to hear what Kristi Noem said sitting at this table, cabinet members, last night or yesterday, because it's fantastic. Apparently, Trump has issued directives to a lot of these cabinet members and said, you know what? I'm sure that this fraud from the Somalians and all of this stuff going on in Minnesota, I'm sure it bleeds over into your realm. Hey, Kristi Noem, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, would you please get on that? Well, she has, and she reported back to the president and America yesterday.
You told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back.
Do you get your money back? Do you go into the Somalian community and you say, you know what, I'm going to take your Mercedes and that vacation house that you bought in Aspen and those fur coats and all of those diamonds that are dripping off of you. Maybe there are even some gold bars that they got. Or maybe their coats are stuffed with money like Bob Goldbar Menendez was, right? Oh no, say the Somalis. It's entirely disappointing and very hurtful to our community, they're saying. At this moment, the only thing that can defend us is the court of law. It's the only thing that can defend us from being sent back home, say the Somalis. It goes to show you how much they need these activist judges in very specific places. Who else is going to rule against the get out edict from this president? 55% of Americans are down with what the president is doing. 55%. They want all illegal aliens to go. 55. It is a winning storyline, ladies and gentlemen. Bad news for the Somalians. Gonna have to go back home, hopefully. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Scott Adams with a phenomenal commentary today on fraud. It's so timely. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. You got to love the victim card. Victim card. We're the victims. You know what? We've been feeding you. You've been clothed. You've been housed. You've gotten EBT cards. You've gotten everything that you've needed. You've gotten welfare checks. You've gotten free food. You get free legal help, right? All of this money that you get to rip off as long as you skim off the top and you give some to Governor Walz. Where's the deep dive into his finances? Where's the dive into any of these people? Nancy Pelosi was able to make 250 million bucks. Was that all insider trading? No. Come on. What you talking about, Willis?
So I got the lowdown. Amanda thought it was more important to buy Jim Brewer tickets than get to support the show.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very disappointing. Whatever. Look, if you don't want to permanently scar your body with me, I don't know what's wrong with you. So anyway, we've got Somalians clutching their pearls. We've got Tim Walz saying, hey, they're AAA bond rated, which is why criminals are so attracted to Minnesota. Shoot me. right? You've got Terry Moran and his big lips flapping. Garbage. Who says that? President Trump. And he's correct. All right. Let's see. I'm going to wait for tomorrow. Ooh, so I bitched. I know, it's kind of shocking. I complained to Genucel, and they sent me one of the massager red light things. They're going to be back talking about it, so I'm going to start red lighting my neck. I'll let you know. I'll let you know if I look less 55. Okay? I'm fighting for you. Taking one for the team. All right, let's talk about Dr. Richard Rafferty at the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh. It doesn't cost you anything to call. It doesn't cost you anything to go on their website, pittsburghdiscinstitute.com. And if you're one of these people, and I've become much more so before I buy a product, I want to read the reviews. And I'm much more inclined to read the review of something that's been reviewed 10,000 times than something that's been reviewed 5 times. And if you want serious reviews of what the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh does to help you avoid painful spinal surgery, but allows your discs to grow back in your back or neck, that's the spot to do it. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. It's all right there for you. All sorts of reviews. 98% successful non-surgical treatment to help your discs regenerate. It's truly fascinating, but it works. It's science. And Dr. Rafferty is the dude who's got the keys to the castle. And he's like, hey, come on over. We'll take a look at your MRI. If you don't have one, we'll help you get one. And if I'm not your guy, we could probably recommend somewhere for you to go. I love it. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, 412-906-9600. He's a good guy. Not going to lie to you. Kind of refreshing. You know, what Scott Adams is about to talk about has very little to do with this Minnesota fraud per se, but it's a small bit of a bigger issue. Like, if everything is a grift, if everything is fraudulent, if everything is rigged and corrupt and shady, and you know that it is, then you have to extrapolate that elections are too, right? No, it was the safest, most secure election ever. Really? Scott Adams with the blistering sanity. I like his little hat he's got on. He must be chilly. I hope he's doing well. Has he gotten any updates?
He looks
like he's put on a few pounds.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, I want to read you quickly just a small blip from the Minnesota Staff Fraud Reporting Commentary website. This is their Twitter account. These are the people who blew into Governor Walz years ago all of this social services fraud going on in the state. They said, as staff, we firsthand witnessed and observed fraud happening, yet we were shut down, reassigned, told to keep quiet, sometimes more. Leadership did not want to appear to discriminate against certain communities and were unwilling to take action, such as stopping fraud that would have an adverse impact on their image. And I want you to think about that. It's been so beaten into your brain that if you say something, and you say something about somebody who's black or who's brown or who's not white, you're worried about being called a racist. That your worry supersedes the truth is scary. And that is where we are. Whew, don't say anything about them. They're black. So what? They're breaking the law. You can't say that. Why not? Because that is the culture that the Democrat Party has cultivated. It's very dangerous. It's extraordinarily off-putting. And by the way, if you have children, college-age kids, they're keenly aware of this. DEI nonsense. Allowing fraud and waste and abuse because you don't want to be called racist. Really? Scott Adams says, you know what? If everything in the world around you is corrupt, why would you think that elections aren't corrupt? This is some sanity from the guy who created Dilbert, the guy who's fighting for his life, who is more reasonable and rational than I think anybody else. Listen.
So Scott Adams' amnesia is that you read a story in the newspaper about, let's say, the charities in Minnesota stealing $1 billion. And then you turn the page and it's a story about some other criminal behavior in the government. And you turn the page and you find out that some other big money entity was also stealing your money. And then you turn the page to the story about our elections, and it says our elections are pristine, even though they're run by different people with different processes and different states and precincts. Every one of them has got a pristine, perfect record. And even if there was some little problem, it wouldn't be anything important. And so we live in a world in which everything is corrupt except for our election systems. Now, Scott Adams' amnesia says you could not possibly believe that our election systems are pristine if you've noted that every other thing is not. Right? You don't have to have specific information about what's wrong with our elections. You don't need that. You don't need specific proof. You don't need a court case. If everything else is corrupt, come on, everything else is corrupt. This is the one thing that's not. You would have to have some form of amnesia about everything else you'd seen in the world to imagine that this one thing is the non-corrupt thing. Sorry, not buying it.
If everything is corrupt, why wouldn't elections be? If everything out there is racist, then nothing is, correct? Correct. I want you to think for a minute how inherently weak, how fragile these people on the left are, who cower and quiver and worry about somebody's going to say something about me. They're going to say, if I call out the fraud in Minnesota that's directly linked to this country, Somalia, where everyone is black, I'm going to be considered a racist. And I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to be quiet about it. If that's Tim Walz, if that's how he governs that state, oh my, you've got a bunch of willows. You got some serious testosterone problems on the left, ladies and gentlemen. I can tell you that my huevos are bigger than Tim Walz if I say, you know what? Anybody who's ripping us off, black, white, green, blue, purple, gay, straight, short, fat, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. If you're a bad person doing bad things, away with you. You're garbage. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you say. You can't say anything that's going to hurt me. Honestly. These are the people who are running the Democratic Party. Shh. We can't tell the truth. It's inherently baked into their sanctimonious do-goodery of idiocy. They fall on the altar. Oh, we're such good people. We're going to fight for everybody. But what we really are is a bunch of little sniveling children who are afraid. We stand for nothing, and so we fall for everything. And there's a fair number of us that are getting rich on the side. That is garbage. Does that offend you that I said that? Because if it does, good. We should all be offended by people who want to rip off the American people. It's gone on too long. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, America's war secretary launches a lethal kinetic strike on the Washington Post. Next. I almost get a little fussy about that.
A little bit.
But my camera hasn't started going haywire.
That's because you know why I think it happened yesterday? There are two reasons. We need to do an update on your computer. But you rifled through pictures and it didn't show your face. which the cameras used to see.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Where are we on Rumbles? Oh, don't look. No, I just said don't look.
That's awful. By the way, I did make an eye appointment for the gelatinous mass on the white of my eye.
I told you I would poke you in the eye.
Joe, my doctor husband, said, I don't know why you just didn't try to scrape it off. I'm like, what?
Why didn't he do the old mother trick?
That's so disgusting. Because I want to smell like his mouth. That'd be great.
Spray a little. What was that one movie where the guy sprayed Windex on everything?
I don't know, because we have sniper. I could have been like,
You should have snipered your eye.
Oh my gosh. Can you? I would try that.
I probably would too. I'd be like,
Here, I'm going to open it up. You
let
hit
me,
it.
Let me spray
Hit
some
it.
sniper on it.
That's where self-medication goes a little out of control. All right, let me tell you about this. So I took home the watermelon yesterday, and in my zeal today to have a beer, which usually happens at about 3:30 in the afternoon. I mean, after all, we are up at 2:30, so it's really 6:30 or 7 o'clock my time. That's how I justify it.
Right.
I'm gonna, instead of drinking beer, I'm gonna have this. So that is the whole point of MCT Wellness. This is Dr. Gundry's thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. It's to basically kick you out of that tunnel vision where all you can think about is carbohydrates or sugar or alcohol or whatever it is that gets you going and through the day, where you're like, mouth is salivating for, I can't wait. I've been waiting all day. Oh yeah. Now, when you drink this, you're satisfied and you don't crave it, which is peculiar. That's the benefit of taking this and scooping it into a glass of water once a day, twice a day, whatever. It's a dietary supplement, says it right here. Dietary supplement from Gundry MD. But it's this that helped Dr. Gundry lose almost 80 pounds. It's a pretty big deal. And he keeps it off. He drinks it and he keeps it off. And we have people affiliated with this program who've decided to try it and have lost 50, 60, 70 pounds. One young lady is doing so well. She's lost about a pound every 2 days, 2.5 days. She's going to go to, her goal is 100 pounds in a calendar year. Only because of this. Now, granted, when you're drinking MCT Wellness, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy, when you're drinking this, you're not eating all the other jazz that would probably make you gain weight. That's the beauty of it. But it's good for you. It's good for you and it works. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. I think you're going to love it. First time you order, you're going to get a great discount. I think it's like 20%, 20, maybe even 30%. Thehealthyfat.com I'll go check. Let's see if our Rumble friend gave us anything. Nope.
So what you're saying is you're not going to try the beer I got you?
Not this week. 0 for the end of the week. What?
I was nice enough to bring you some beer.
See, but here's the thing. I didn't ask for it. That you gave it to me because you want to contribute to my issue.
Wait a second. Did I say, would you like some transfusions? And you said no. I said, well, how about some hazies? You're like, saying it. Did you or did you not?
I don't
Are you
recall.
giving out fake? No.
I don't recall.
Oh, I do.
They don't need to be drunk now.
Wow.
Oh, we've got a little Harry coming up too.
I did not. So I did get a canned cocktails at this one distillery we went to. I'd say it. It's in Hershey. I can't remember the name of it. Called Unicorn Farts. It has glitter in it and everything. So I got a 6-pack of that.
We've had that.
What's that?
We've had
No. This is some rum punch. It's not beer. Because we had the beer one and it tasted like If I ever knew what,
unicorn farts tasted like?
yeah, it would be whatever that tastes like. It's like that big fat orange kitty beer I tried.
Darius.
If I knew what kitty litter tasted like, that would probably be it.
Darius, don't try to take me to the dark side. He says, just have a beer.
Hidden Still Distillery. Hidden Still Distillery. If you're out there,
Hidden
try
Still?
it. Hidden Still. Still. Hidden Still. If you're in Hershey, I would highly recommend it. They sold tequila too.
Can you see it? Big blob. I know. That's the problem with having a camera. 2 cameras on you all the time. It's like.
Did you hear they sold tequila?
They really don't want the drugs to stop running into our country. They don't want those narco terrorists blown up at sea. They don't want this Department of War to be successful at all. And they really don't want Pete Hegseth to be the secretary. I mean, I haven't seen a campaign to try to sink one person focus so much on anybody. Saved President Trump in years. Pete Hegseth, you're in the crosshairs, brother. America's got your back. Don't you worry about it. We know what's going on. We know what's at stake. But the left, I don't know. They're for everything that is bad for you, everything that costs you money, everything that's bad for your health, everything that could potentially kill you, everything that could lie to you, steal from you, whatever. That's what they're for. That's the mission of the Democratic Party. I've got no other way to deduce it, right? Did you hear what's so the big thing about Pete Hegseth now, you know, they've been launching those lethal kinetic strikes, been more than 20 of them. President Trump, the very beginning of his administration, he put it up on his whole agenda, right? Agenda 47. We're going to take out this whole drug thing. The flow of illegal drugs into the country that's killing Americans, that kills more Americans in 1 year, double, than what killed in 8 years Americans in Vietnam. We're going to stop it. It's a number one priority. It's part of the lasting legacy of Donald Trump. He's been very clear about that. And on day one, he was very clear to the cartels. I'm coming for you. You can pack up and get the hell out, like the Somalians, or we'll forcibly remove you, or we'll kill you. Your choice. We could do it the easy way. We could do it the hard way. What has he said to Nicolas Maduro? We could do it the easy way. You can leave. Or we can do it the hard way. We have 11 Navy vessels in the Caribbean Sea parked on your doorstep. What do you think that means, Nick? What are you going to do? Well, the story about these lethal kinetic strikes is that the first one, which happened on September 2nd, was a hit, took out the boat, but it didn't kill everybody on board. And as there was obviously surveillance, we've seen all the videos because they put them out, and there's a reason for it, right? There are consequences. We will blow you up. We will kill you. It is our mission. If you want to kill Americans, we're going to kill you. Mark my words. And you're surprised? Why? So 2 guys, I guess they survived. And so they're holding on in the ocean to the wreckage of the boat. And whomever's in the main room, because it's not Pete Hegseth, after that first strike, he moved on and did other things. And noticed 2 guys were still alive. And so the Navy Admiral guy, the Navy Commander guy, gives us the order, take them out, kill them. Now, in what world would you go in there and save them? Now, the Democrats would want you to believe that's what good, compassionate people do. We don't just let people die at sea. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. In fact, we do. We do, and we blow them up. And we blow them up into smithereens, and we celebrate that. I'm not like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. You're killing our people. Period. You've been warned. How many times do you need to be warned? Okay, next. Okay, next. The left wants you to believe that Pete Hegseth was like, kill them all, kill everybody, ah! And he never said these things that they said he said. The Washington Post. And it's just crazy how the story was like 36 hours old. They're trying to do anything they can to sow distrust and division within the ranks of the military, which is beyond scary. So it started with the seditious six. You can disobey an illegal order. We don't have any idea that Trump hasn't given any, but just know, and now they've pivoted to focus in squarely on Pete Hegseth. Well, this is the story, townhall.com. The New York Times just blew the Washington Post Hegseth war crime story out of the water. I'm going to read you a little bit of it, and we're going to hear some sound. For the past several days, the Democratic Party, with an assist from the Washington Post, has been smearing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration's attacks on narco-terrorists in the Caribbean. It's part of the Democrats' larger narrative, as you know, that President Trump is issuing illegal orders that the military should not follow. Well, we'll start with the Washington Post article and its baseless claims. On November 28th, happy Thanksgiving, Washington Post reported that Hegseth ordered the military to, quote, kill them all after 2 drug runners survived the initial strike of their vessel. If he did, I wouldn't care. I'd say absolutely. Yes. But you are clutching of pearls. Oh, we're such good people. We don't want those people to die. Send somebody in to save them. Come on. Grow up. Right? The New York Times blows the story out of the water. And then Washington Post alleged Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth gave a spoken directive according to 2 people with direct knowledge of the operation. Anonymous sources. The order was to kill everybody, one of them said. A missile screamed off the Trinidad coast, striking the vessel and igniting a blaze. Right? For minutes, commanders watched the boat burning on a live drone feed. As the smoke cleared, they got a jolt. 2 survivors were clinging to the smoldering wreck. The Special Operations Commander overseeing the September 2nd attack, the opening salvo in the Trump administration's war on suspected drug traffickers in the Western Hemisphere, ordered a second strike to comply with Hegseth's instructions. 2 people familiar with the matter said, and the 2 men were blown apart in the water. Okay? Yeah, that's not what happened, and that's not at all what happened. And the New York Times actually came out, and they were the ones who said, yeah, that's not what happened. According to 5 U.S. officials who spoke separately and on the condition of anonymity to discuss a sensitive matter that's under investigation, Mr. Hegseth, ahead of the September 2nd attack, ordered a strike that would kill the people on the boat and to destroy the vessel and its purported cargo of drugs. But each official said Mr. Hegseth's directive did not specifically address what should happen if a first missile turned out not to fully accomplish all of those things. And as the official said, his order was not a response to surveillance footage showing that at least 2 people on the boat survived the first blast, okay? That being said, Pete Hegseth dropped it yesterday during this cabinet meeting. And he's like, look, when you guys want to get your undies in a bunch, saying that I did something I did not do, let's remember who opened the floodgates to all of this danger. Joe Biden. Here we go.
I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. We've got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on four-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine.
Don't try to tell us that this is cruel and unusual. We warned them. This is war. You want to kill our people? We will kill you first. He continues, and by the way, I wasn't even in the room when the order was given to finish the job.
And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that, a lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do. And by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back, and the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
Have to do it. Admiral Bradley had full authorization, and I 100% have his back. That's not the narrative the left wants you to get. Well, as this is going on, there's also something happening with the Department of War press secretary. Her name is Kingsley Wilson, and she wants to talk to the media about what's going on, debunking this Washington Post article, alleging Hegseth said something he didn't say. And it is quite intriguing how she does this. Go.
Yeah, it is frankly disgusting that the Washington Post would publish something that is so insanely false. And we've seen this from the mainstream media before, right? Anonymous sources that are being quoted that probably have no idea what's going on. And the Washington Post actually went so far as to falsely attribute a quote to the Secretary of War, that he never said. That is preposterous that they would write that and pass that off as true journalism. Thankfully, the New York Times stepped in and corrected the record and let the American people know that what they were publishing was absolutely fake news. So the Washington Post, I think readership should think twice before reading that outlet again. It is disgraceful that they call themselves journalists, and we told them as such, right? We get press queries like we do from all of you. We told them this story was completely fake news on Thanksgiving evening with a 3-hour deadline, and they still published it anyway. It's disgraceful, but thankfully the American people see through it.
And by the way, when asked about Mark Kelly and his role in suggesting mutiny among the military is a viable option, she dropped this one.
This despicable video that Mark Kelly participated in with the Seditious Six was a politically motivated influence operation that was an attempt to undermine the chain of command to sow distrust and division in our armed forces. That is absolutely ridiculous, and it puts our warfighters at risk. And again, he doubled down on the Sunday shows. I don't know if you all saw him on the Sunday shows, but he basically insinuated that service members who do not defy President Trump's orders could face potential prosecution in the future when Democrats are back in power. He even called our troops and likened them to those of the Russian military. This is totally disgraceful from an elected official, and the department takes it very seriously, and that is why we have launched this review.
Well, so it's issue over, right? Fake news debunked, disgusting, exposed, move on, right? Oh no. When we come back, Harry Enton flapping his arms. And this you've got to hear. It's truly remarkable. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. And when Brock sent this to me, what'd you say? They must be really desperate?
Yeah.
Really desperate for news. When you try desperately to use polling to create a narrative, it makes all polling garbage. Right? We're not supposed to demonize a whole community. It's just a couple bad Somalians. No, pretty sure it's a rampant in the community. Get rid of all of them, period. Right? And then we're going to talk about this story about Pete Hegseth and how desperately they want him to be replaced. How desperately the left wants him to be replaced. Remember, it was earlier this week that it was Kash Patel. Everybody hates Kash Patel. They can't wait for him to go. Hurry up, get rid of him, right? Caroline Leavitt told Trump, who was meeting with Kash at the time, she leaned into the Oval Office. She's like, Mr. President, did you see what they're saying about you and Kash? That you want him to go, that you want to fire him? He goes, that's fake news. Come on over here, Kash. Let's take a picture together and show everybody what a great job you're doing. And they stand there underneath the Declaration of Independence, and they're like, and it's the most ridiculous thing I've seen. The in real time debunking of garbage. That's why they put out that website, right? Calling out the worst offenders of the media. It's fantastic. All right, so let's talk. What do we want to talk about? What shall we talk about? You want to talk about More Gains Fitness? This is just nutty. Right now, to do this, you got to go and you got to lift weights and you got to monitor what you're eating and you got to know what's happening in your bloodstream and in your gut. I get it. There's a lot that goes into, but if you have 90 days, if you can do something for 90 days, this is what could happen to you. The top is before, bottom is after. Look at the one far left. That's just nutty. All of them, actually. Look at her back. Look at how much her back shrinks on the right. 90 days. That's inches of fat. Pounds of fat, inches of skin, right? Gone. And pounds of weight off. And what do you replace it with? Well, muscle, grit, determination, resolve, knowledge. Knowing how to lose weight allows you to put it on again and then take it off again, right? You're not going to be stuck eating celery and broccoli for the rest of your life. You can actually do cool things. You can celebrate the holidays, and if so be it, if you put on 5 or 10 pounds, you can be like, yeah, I know how to get rid of this, and then do it. It's the knowledge. That's the most important part. That's what I love about Kelly Morgan and More Gains Fitness, MorGainzFitness.com. Get on the program. It's called 90 Ignite. If you're in the area, I would get there. I would go and I would join the gym and I'd be like, look, Kelly, I know you're busy, but I need you stat. Can I get on your waiting list? Yes. MorGainsFitness.com.
I don't understand how Democrats they're so anti-Trump. They fight for Somalis. They fight for fraud. They fight for narco-terrorists. They fight for the illegal aliens coming across the border. They fight for men and girls' locker rooms.
Look, we knew what was...
Can you pick anything?
Brock and I were in our first radio station together. And there was one of the...
quick.
I'll tell you in the next break.
She'll forget.
That's rude.
Is it true?
Forget about Jolene. Let's talk about Harry. Oh, Harry Enton over at CNN. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. So the swing and the miss. We're going to try to ruin Pete Hegseth. We got to get rid of this guy. This guy is manly. He's masculine. He's all about war. He's about fighting. He's about victory. He's about valor. He's about courage. I hate him when I'm a wussy little willow over here on the left. And I'm worried that people are going to get upset at me and call me racist if I call out the Somalians for ripping us off. Right? So here's Harry Enton, and he's like, you know what? This is crazy. I don't know what is going on with Pete Hegseth, but people don't like him. There have been no positive polls about this guy. He's never polled well. Really? I find that so hard to believe. I want to set this up with why ever Harry Enton is doing this particular snippet on Pete Hegseth. They're trying to gauge whether the American people have been swayed by the fake news reporting about Pete Hegseth being a war criminal. Let's listen.
This is not the first time that we have covered Pete Hegseth, and there's a reason why, and that is because he has simply put not been a popular guy in the American electorate. I mean, Pete Hegseth's net favorability in the last year, positive. There have been no polls in which his net favorability has been positive. Every single poll that I could find in the Roper Center archives has his net favorability in the negative. From when Donald Trump first nominated him nearly a year ago or about a year ago to now, every single poll has found that the American people are more likely to dislike than like him. And the first poll that was taken found that the plurality of Americans said that the United States Senate should not confirm him to the post of Secretary of Defense.
Wow, this is kind of weird. How many people do you know who have ever talked about Pete Hegseth? How many people talk about him? You guys talk about him and you're like, how about the Secretary of War? I mean, I can't stand that guy. Blowing up people who kill our people. I hate that. Never heard that. So first of all, that you're polling about Pete Hegseth shows that people really aren't talking about Pete Hegseth, Harry. And oh, by the way, 55% in another poll say they're 100% in line with all the deportation of every single last one of these illegal aliens. So reconcile that for me, right? Then he goes on to say this: there are no positive polls about Pete. Do people just not care about Pete Hegseth? What could it be?
No, this is the whole thing, which is that Pete Hegseth, I said at the beginning of this, has been generating so much interest, far more interest than the normal defense secretary. I was just interested in the polls that were asking the popularity rating of recent defense secretaries. There have been at least 10 in terms of Pete Hegseth. There were 0 for Lloyd Austin, Esper had 0, Mad Dog Jim Mattis had only 2. This is extremely unusual for a defense secretary to be generating this much interest, especially when we're not at a time of war. You have to go all the way back to Bob Gates to find this many polls asking about the popularity rating of a defense secretary. And of course, Bob Gates served 4 times as long so far as Pete Hegseth did. And of course, that was during a time of war.
Well, Harry, see, Americans aren't worried about popularity contests. So much polling is being done on this guy. That's not Pete Hegseth's fault. It's because you guys are trying to do anything you can to sink him. And so you poll. You're going to ask people questions. And all of a sudden, there's been more polls about this guy than anybody else. It must mean something. Yeah? What does it mean? Audio soundbite number 3. Here you go. He's like, basically, we here at CNN really want to get rid of Pete Hegseth. So let's talk about the betting markets. Who believes out there that Trump is going to axe Pete Hegseth? Ooh, a lot of people, apparently. Listen.
This is, I think, a great chance to use the prediction market odds. Chance to be the first to leave Trump's cabinet. Pete Hegseth, on Friday, it was just 18%. It's now doubled. It's now doubled to 35% given the recent controversy, John Berman. So a lot of folks out there who are putting their money where their mouth is think there's a far better chance that Pete Hegseth exits the cabinet now, being the first one, than back on Friday. And one last thing, Mr. Berman, just to put this into some perspective for you, the chance to be the first to leave Trump's cabinet, Pete Hegseth, 35%, Pam Bondi, just 10%. And then we've got this gentleman over here. Steve Myron. At 8%. But again, that 35% way higher than the 10, this doubling you were very interested in.
Doubled in the last few days. That does tell you something.
Yeah, that doubling in the last 2 days, that does tell you something. You know, it doesn't tell you anything. What controversy? A controversy that the Washington Post made up, that the New York Times came out and debunked, and that the Secretary of War himself explained, sitting to the left of the President of the United States. And you guys want us to believe that despite all of that, people really want Pete Hegseth to go. No, people really want those who want to kill us to be killed first, right? That is without question. Nice try, Harry. That is a swing and a miss. When we come back, hour number 3, no data, no money. Just that simple. USDA dropping the gloves on Democrat states. Next. Right? What controversy? This whole controversy has got a lot of people talking about Pete Hegseth. No, they don't. Who's talking about Pete Hegseth? You know what they're talking about? They're talking about their water bill going up 600%. That's what they're talking about. You know what they're talking about? They're talking about living in Democrat cities and states and seeing how much they suck. That's what they're talking about. I'm not talking about Pete Hegseth. Why is somebody calling me? Hamilton, Indiana. I'll bite. Hello? They hung up on me. That wasn't very friendly. Anyway, so I wanted you to hear that because we're going to do with polling. This is why polling is such a joke, right? We're going to do a lot of polls so we can say more people are asking questions and polling about Pete Hegseth than anybody else. Well, who would want to poll about Lloyd Austin? The dude was in the hospital for a week and nobody knew about it, right? So why ever would anybody be interested in Lloyd Austin? Now, they're interested in Pete Hegseth because Pete Hegseth doesn't give a shite what you think. He's got a job to do. He's been given orders by the commander-in-chief. He is executing those orders, doing his job the way he has. I voted for that. I got a body.
Yeah, I voted for that too. And then Washington Post can quote me. Kill them all. Drug traffickers, kill them all. I'm okay with it. I'm going to lose no sleep if a couple drug dealers and cartel members die. I may sleep a little better. Here's your daily reminder till Friday. Second Amendment gifts, original, and the new North is Still North edition go on sale Friday. This Friday, they go on sale this Friday. Second Amendment commemorative gifts. Hopefully we'll have mugs sometime in January, February. And the women's shirts that Wendy loves. Hopefully we'll be getting those in beginning of next year also. So save up. Yeah. We'll take your money, Darius. Gladly take your money. Stuff's expensive. It was pretty quick. Do you wash your hands?
No.
She keeps that there.
I just peed
show.
on him.
That's for show.
No, it's not. All right, let's talk about Dr. Dubiak. Let's talk about Body by AIM 360. Let's talk about getting your body back.
Let's talk about first finding out what's wrong with your body. And that starts with the blood work. It's all downhill from there. It really is. That blood work tells you exactly what you need to know, where your levels are, what you need to do to lose the weight, to lose the joint pain, to get healthier.
So when you started, before you got your blood work,
I felt like garbage.
Did you?
But it's the whole
You probably didn't even realize it.
You don't realize how bad you feel until you feel good.
Right.
You know, you just, like everything else, you just become accustomed. This is my baseline.
Right.
And then, you find out what's really going on inside, and you start to lose the weight. You start to eat the right things, and you start to feel better. And you're like, this is kind of nice.
The thing that was wild for you too is cutting out some of the wheat, some of the gluten stuff from your life.
I cut out a lot of it. I think really the only time I eat real bread is if we go to lunch and I get something that has bread on it, obviously.
I love bread.
But I don't eat, or if we order a pizza,
bread and butter. Well, even lately, I feel like garbage after I eat it. Like in the moment, it's delicious. I love bacon and sausage and all the pepperoni and cheese and,
And
yes,
and the banana peppers.
and the banana peppers and all of that stuff, and it's delicious. And then you just feel like a giant turd.
Tell them the name of the thing, the pizza we'll get every
Three
once in
Little
a while.
Pigs.
3 Little Pigs. Oh,
with banana peppers. But look, this is what Dr. Dubiak does. He gives you the keys to the portal. And he says, we're going to help you. We're going to give you the answers. And then from there, you're going to be able to make decisions that are easy. It's not going to be complicated for you. You're going to cut certain things out of your diet. You're going to think you're not going to be able to survive. And then you realize how much better you feel. And you're like, dang, I'm never going back. I'm not going back. 412-227-9255. BodybyAim360.com. You do not have to live in Pennsylvania. You do not have to be here for this. 412-227-9255. BodybyAim360.com. You can manage your life. You can enjoy your life. You can lose all of the weight and get the tools you need to keep it off. That's what Brock's done. Put on a few pounds. Now he's back to taking them off again. It's a process. But he knows what he's doing. He doesn't have to call Dr. Dubiak. He doesn't have to look at any website. He knows exactly what to do. That's half the battle, isn't it? Probably 90% of it.
Oh, once you start, you don't want to go back. That's the thing. Like when you said, when I eat it, I feel like garbage. And what do you end up doing? Like typically, if I eat pizza, I'm on the couch. Pizza and beer, and I'm just...
Takes a while for it to get through your system.
Yeah.
And to the gentleman who emailed me about the white blob, you're right. That's exactly what it is. And I appreciate that. Thank you for caring.
Blob.
Thank you for caring.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. I'm going to give you my common sense conservative opinion about what's been going on with the whole Joe Biden open borders, NGOs, people coming over, all the fraud, blah, blah, blah. I just don't think that this is like this huge, complicated Rubik's Cube to try to fix, right? I think that this is very, very easy when we consider what our basic philosophy is on Washington, D.C. It's about bribery and blackmail. That is the crux of the nation's capital. It's about who's got what on whom to squeeze that individual to do such and such for blah, blah, blah. That's what it is. I want something. I know you can help me get it. I've got something that you know you don't want people to know about. And so I'm going to squeeze you. But what if that was done using immigrants? What if Joe Biden's auto pen, which would have been needed to have happened to open up the border, because Joe Biden was not an open borders guy. He just wasn't. What if you use this system of NGOs as the Democratic Party? You're connected with these non-government organizations that are funded by things like USAID, right? And you give them money, NGOs, Catholic Charities and others, to go out and basically recruit from other countries. Hey, come on in. Very unusual that we're doing this, but we're doing this, and there are a lot of perks to this, right? I'm going to bribe you to come in. We're going to give you all sorts of stuff. We're going to pay for stuff for you. We're going to give you free housing. We're going to fly you wherever you want to go, right? We're going to get you hooked up with some kind of job or a grift. Great stuff. You'll make lots of money. Bring your family. Whatever you got to do, don't worry about it. You don't have to get vaccinated. You don't need special papers. We'll make it easy for you, and we'll make life super comfortable for you. We'll feed you. We'll give you job training. We'll get your kids in school. We'll give you even a free computer, free legal advice, whatever you need. We've got you covered. You come on over. I kind of think that that's what happened. And then all these people were like, what? Like, what would encourage people to send their children, their little kids? There had to be the promise of something monster. It wasn't just come on in for a chance. It'd be come on in because there's a freaking pot of gold over here, and here's your ticket to cash in. I believe that. I believe the immigrants from around the world were incentivized. They were lured. They were tricked. And I believe hundreds of thousands of parents sent their unaccompanied children alone with randos through some of the gnarliest jungles and terrain, think the Darien Gap, to come here. I believe that. And now those children basically have been sold into servitude. That's why the Biden administration, had no idea where they were and no concern whatsoever. Alejandro Mayorkas didn't care. Kamala Harris didn't care. Joe Biden didn't care. These people didn't care. It's all part of it, right? It's all connected. And I think this is part of why they're so desperate to take out Pete Hegseth. They're so desperate to do whatever they can to demonize Donald Trump. He has stopped the gravy train. He has stopped the grift. Now we're just getting pieces of how bad it's been. Well, this is an article that kind of makes me feel this way. USDA to halt federal funding to states not sharing SNAP data. Why ever would a state not comply with the federal government's request for how many people are getting food stamps? Why? Because a lot of people who are getting them should not be getting them. It's not complicated, correct? Correct. Why would 29 states, all of them Republican, offer that data to the USDA? Because perhaps in their states, they're not aware of people grifting off of the food stamp program, or they're not part of it. If it's happening, then they're happy for the federal government to step in and help clean it up. Democrats don't want to know, or they don't want you to know, because they're probably in on it. Here we go. U.S. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins announced that the U.S. Department of Agriculture would halt federal funding to states that refuse to share their data on the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program to root out fraud. 42 million people we know, thanks to the Schumer shutdown. 1 in 10 Americans is getting food stamps. What's the percentage of illegals? They don't get a single penny, not a single thing. Not at all. They're not voting either. Don't you dare say that. Right. Right. During a cabinet meeting yesterday, Rollins highlighted the accomplishments of the USDA. She spoke about the fraud the agency has discovered within SNAP. And she also shared that in February, states were asked, 10 months ago, states were asked to turn over data on the people in their states getting these benefits. Who are they? Where are they? She shared that in February, states were asked to turn over their data to the federal government to let the USDA partner with them to root out fraud, and that only 29 states had shared their data. Well, if we're just going to look at this common sense-wise, 29 states run by Republicans want the federal government's help to root out fraud. Republicans want it to end. They're not apparently in on it that we know of. They say, absolutely, here is our data. And from the data, they've already found 186,000 dead people, right? They've also found 500,000 people getting benefits more than twice. Some people's cards, by the way, have over $10,000 on them. What? But there's 21 states who refuse to participate. Now, that's not just because they're being obstreperous, that they just don't like Trump. I'm not going to do anything because of you. They're hiding something. Why? Why? I can only deduce, again, through my common sense, that they're in on it. They're allowing it to happen, and they are benefiting in one way or another, period. I want you to hear what Brooke Rollins said yesterday. She says, look, we're not going to give you any money. Here's the deal. You have until like Tuesday. Give us the data about who in your state is getting benefits, because they have to have Social Security numbers. Tell us who they are, or you don't get any more food stamp benefits. What? Listen.
In February of this year, we asked for all the states for the first time to turn over their data to the federal government, to let the USDA partner with them to root out this fraud, to make sure that those who really need food stamps are getting them, but also to ensure that the American taxpayer is protected. 21 states said yes, not surprised. 29 states said yes, not surprisingly, the red states. And that's where all of that data, that fraud comes from. But 21 states, including California, New York, and Minnesota, the blue states, continue to say no. So as of next week, we have begun and will begin to stop moving federal funds into those states until they comply and they tell us and allow us to partner with them to root out this fraud and to protect the American taxpayer. As Joe Biden was working to buy an election a year ago, he increased food stamp program funding by 40%. So now as we continue to roll that back.
What? Why would you do that? Hey, man, we got only a limited amount of time. Why would they give Stacey Abrams $2 billion in some climate EPA grant? $2 billion. I mean, they didn't even try to hide it, you guys. It's so obvious what's going on. What this administration is doing is it's taking slowly the American horse to water. They're laying out all of the breadcrumbs for you. Why else would a judge block the USDA collection of SNAP data in 21 states? Again, you've got to have your judges, your corrupt, politicized plants, as in your judges, to be there if all hell goes into a handbasket and you got nothing left. Well, you've got a judge to say, yeah, I don't like that ruling. I overrule you. Negative, that's not what's going to happen. Why would 21 states literally go to court to sue the Trump administration from collecting the data on who's getting food stamps? It's not because they're worried about privacy. That's what they say. Well, we're not certain that if we share the Social Security numbers with the federal government, something's not going to happen. You kidding me? This is the same party that spied on, wiretapped President Trump and 8 Senate and congressional Republicans, and how many others? You kidding me? You're worried about privacy? Please. They're showing you every single day with every headline, every Somalian, every dumb thing that Terry Moran, Harry Enton, or Tim Walz says walks you closer and closer to the water of corruption. When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, speaking of money, this is huge. Michael and Susan Dell have $6 billion to give to us. I'm going to tell you how and why. What? Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I saw that story and I was like, wait, what? Yeah. There's a lot of rich people out there. And it's amazing when there's an administration that actually is doing things to change, to clean up the garbage, to take out the trash, right? That's why Trump getting into that trash truck was just the biggest thing, because it's true. So much of what he's doing is exposing it and then getting rid of it. What were you saying?
Just think of that money they're giving
Mm.
and what that amount of money is going to look like in 18 years. So how much are they really getting?
Now imagine all of the people getting all of these benefits. Just think SNAP, just think small. SNAP benefits, 42 million people, right? It's billions and billions of dollars. Well, when you find out that a third of the recipients in certain areas are illegal aliens, then the narrative goes away. We're not giving money to anybody. They're not getting anything. Right? But Trump wants to get rid of Medicaid or Medicare. So it's obvious, right? It's what Scott Adams said. If everything sucks, what makes you think the elections don't? If everything is tainted and destroyed in some capacity, what makes you think that elections aren't? Because it just doesn't make any sense. That one thing, pristine. Zero problems. It's 100% perfect. Right? The superlatives, the extras. I feel you. All right, what else? What haven't I talked about today? Ireland contracting.
I was going to say, make sure you tell them not to call Dan.
Do not call Dan. Call Gary. Call Diane. I don't care. Call them all day long. But don't you dare even say that name, Dan. Ever. At least not until the spring. I don't know. He might come out. He's like, I can come out maybe before it. It's just too cold. I'm like, now. See you in the spring. Jerk. Can't always get what you want. IrelandContracting.com. You know what you get. You do get what you want there. And it's one of the reasons why they're just a wonderful business to partner with, because they're good to their word. They do good work. They're home exterior remodeling experts in Southwestern land before time. And they're just great. Look, any project on your house is pricey. It's always more than you want to spend. At least if you're going to get bent over, you need to know the person who's bending you isn't, trying to screw you to the hills. They want you to get a good product at a reasonable price, and they stand behind it and they clean up after themselves. Okay. 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Roofing, siding, windows, gutters, soffit fascia, downspouts, skylights, sun tunnels, you name it, they do it. Just not electrical stuff at all.
Or if you call, say, I'd like to get in before Wendy.
Yes. Or you say, you know what? I'm more important than she is. Put me in. Judge blocks USD collection of SNAP data.
Hey, show the mug again.
So I think we're going to do the fuzzy side rather than the hard side. And then this is going to be smaller.
We'll see how they look. Yeah.
I love it. I love me some Gary Varvel. So I'm kind of cheap and easy that way.
Yes. You guys just need, if you want a mug, just get on person making them. Blame
Jolene?
Her. Yeah. Blame her. Like to be able to start some shizzle.
Ever did to me. He's an insurance guy. He's very good about financial planning, and he's helped a lot of people in his life. I'm very proud of my dad. When I was 25, I remember we were at a family reunion, and my dad and I were the early risers, and so he and I went down to whatever the lobby area was and got a cup of coffee and sat on the couch and started talking. And he was telling me about investing. And he's like, I know you don't have any money. I'm gonna do the first year for you. I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna invest for you in an IRA, $2,000. And I want you next year to at least give me $1,000, and I'll split it with you, and you'll do another $2,000. But every year after that, you have to promise me that no matter how hard it is, You find a way to put $2,000 into an IRA. I didn't even know what that meant. He's like, it's retirement savings. I'm like, retirement? I haven't even started working. He's like, the earlier you begin. Oh boy, was he right. Was he right? So we told you about President Trump's plan to create funds for every newborn in the country. You're born, we're going to put $1,000 into a special fund for you. You can't touch it until you're 18. And if you do touch it, you can only use it for certain things. We thought, my goodness, this is a seismic shift, a generational change in the thought of saving and money, right? You're giving today's newborns an advantage that they won't even begin to understand until they're well past their adult age. Well, we now know who's going to fund this. It's Michael and Susan Dell. Michael and Susan Dell are dropping $6.25 billion to fund Donald Trump's new Trump accounts. 25 million American children will receive investment deposits. What? This is a game changer. Michael Dell, founder and CEO of Dell Technologies, and his wife, Susan, announced Tuesday that they will contribute a staggering $6.25 billion to seed new investment accounts for 25 million American children. The move cements the launch of Trump accounts, a cornerstone in President Donald Trump's vision of economic opportunity for all. This is huge. Under the new law passed as part of the sweeping One Big Beautiful Bill Act earlier this year, each child born in the U.S. between January 1st of 25 and December 31st of 2028 will automatically receive a $1,000 government-seeded account. But that's not all. By tapping the Trump account's infrastructure, the Dell's donation will deliver an extra $250 deposit into the accounts of 25 million children under the age of 10 whose families meet certain income criteria. According to a statement issued by their foundation, it says, beginning next year, the U.S. Treasury will contribute $1,000 to the Invest America account of every baby born on or after January 1st, 2025. This automatic $1,000 deposit by the federal government gives every American newborn a transformative head start. These investment accounts are simple, secure, and structured to grow in value and through market returns over time. At age 18, these young Americans can have a financial foundation for continued education, job training, home ownership, or future savings. It's a simple yet very powerful idea. What inspired us most was the chance to expand this opportunity to even more children. Through our charitable funds, we are thrilled to be contributing $6.25 billion to seed 25 million additional accounts with $250 each. So this is in addition to what the Trump administration is going to be doing. I want you to think for a moment. If that $1,000 is put in and not touched, and you assume certain rates of return, et cetera, it's just shy of $20,000 when that child turns 18. But if they leave it in there, and after the age of 18, they start doing what my dad told me to do, and they start adding $1,000 to it, that original $1,000 in seed money becomes well over $1 million by the time they're 65. We have a president that isn't interested in taxing you into oblivion. He doesn't want to sneak a new tariff in or come around the back door and steal more of your paycheck. He wants to give your children and grandchildren a bite at the American dream. $1,000 per child, $250 for 25 million other kids already here in this country to teach a valuable lesson. 1, you don't spend all that you have. 2, you don't spend what you don't have. And 3, if you don't go to Starbucks every damn day, you could really become rich by the time it's time for you to retire, right? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program. It's so great. Read my lips. No more taxes. What President Trump said yesterday that I promised you at the beginning will blow your mind. Next. So I did that. I did that with my dad. I listened to him and I did exactly what he said. The second year, and I had no business. I had no money. I was working for national television. I was making $32,000 a year. That sucks. I was broke. And I nickeled and dimed and I squirreled, and my dad matched it. And we made the deposit the next year. And then the year after that, I had to do it on my own. And I did that until my income got to a point where I could no longer do Roth IRAs. And that money now is a huge, huge part of our retirement savings. Got to teach kids this, right? And my dad is doing that to my kids now. He's talking to the boys about it. Thank God. Rock is very quiet.
No, I just, I see people saying this is a dumb idea.
Not a chance.
You know what? Those people gave $6.25 billion, not your taxpayer money dollars. They gave what they earned and said, you know what, Trump, I got a guy who I can talk him into doing this. They wanted to do it. And more power to you, like
Trump said this too, which I thought was interesting. He said, Michael and Susan came to see me and they said, this is an idea. And I said, I think it sounds so good and so unique. And that's why he's been so successful, and Michael Dell, and they've been so successful, in life and in business because they're unique. It's a way to think outside the box. It's really not thinking outside the box. It's we're trying to reprogram. Let's get back to the factory reset. And I think about, like, what do my kids see when they scroll through their news feed, right? Well, they look at all of their social media influencers who get paid gobs of money to just look like they're doing something at Fashion Week. They're in Milan. Oh, they're jet setting. Oh, is that Khloe Kardashian with so-and-so? Oh my gosh. And it's all this bull crap. That's not real. That's not what people are really going through. But that's what they see. And so they expect and want this lavish, flawless, glorious, glamorous life. And it's like, I don't know where y'all were raised, but that's not the real world. You can get there, but you have to work your ass off. Are you willing to work your ass off? Well, she doesn't look like she is. Well, it's a good gig if you can get it, but not everybody is going to be a Hollywood model or, an actress or a professional singer or some kind of a star. You got to work at it.
I just, if your first response is, why not everybody? One, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And two.
Is that what people are saying?
Yeah. Like, I don't disagree that give me the money I paid into the system, but.
Well, this is where this next story is so alluring to us.
If your first response is, why not me?
So
like I heard the story and was like, holy cow, would that have been nice when I was? Absolutely. But
the difference between like that $2,000 by the time like in 20 years was like $168,000. If I had given nothing else to it, it had changed. It had changed. It had grown and had grown and grown. It's crazy. And you don't think about it. It just grows. And if it's in a Roth or something like that, it grows tax-free. So, you pay tax on it in the upfront, but not in the end.
Yeah.
And so that's a game changer. How many people, though, in high school don't even know how to boil an egg, let alone figure out retirement stuff?
Well, part of the thing, too, is, growing up, my parents weren't wealthy, and they were saving for themselves. You know what I mean? Like just to.
Yeah, they didn't want to be a burden on you guys.
They weren't your dad. They weren't fiscally, kids now aren't fiscally literate.
Well, we're trying, and it's an individual effort.
And I think this is a huge thing to it. Tell these kids what this is going to be, and say, watch. I'm just not going to tell you. I'm going to let it sit there for 18 years. You watch. It's going to change their mindset. just like your dad.
This next story, I think, has the potential to reverse the erosion of the Gen Z support for the conservative movement, for President Trump in general.
You don't know if they'll blow it. Knock it off.
I think the $1,000 accounts have started, but it's the $250 for 25 million kids who aren't in that 3-year window of being born right now that Susan and Michael Dell are giving $6.25 billion to. I think that's the $250 per child that they're funding, which I just think is crazy. You know, they didn't. That's actual philanthropy.
Yes.
That's actual do-goodery. You know, that's meaningful. It's not some blowhardy, I'm such a good person. Terry Moran. Who says that word? Terry, you suck. "30 seconds, like 23 seconds. And I think it was the most powerful thing I heard all week so far. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You need to listen to these cabinet meetings. You know, I think it's important for all of us to take an active role in being aware of what our government is doing. And unlike the last 4 years of secrecy and lies and cover-ups and Easter bunnies and X marks the spot and guiding Joe Biden away from this or that, you have a president who will answer questions anywhere at any time. On Air Force One, standing in the doorway of his private quarters, he'll do it there. He'll do it outside the White House before he gets aboard Marine One. Right? He'll do it inside the White House. He'll do it at the wherever the cabinet is meeting, somewhere in the White House. He'll do it at that table in front of the meeting. He'll take a question from anywhere, anytime, from anyone. And unless it wasn't carefully scripted and vetted and choreographed, and there was enough makeup, and Steven Spielberg had coached Joe Biden how to manage the answer, you didn't see a whole lot of that from Joe Biden. But we were told he was a transformative president. He was a special kind of a guy. Mm-hmm. Right. This was what President Trump said. I'm going to just start out of the gates with it. It is all of, what is it, Brock? 21 seconds. 21 seconds. It stopped me in my tracks, and I went, what?
And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous that you're not going to have income tax to pay. Whether you get rid of it or just keep it around for fun or have it really low, much lower than it is now, but you won't be paying income tax.
Okay, so let me ask you this. You won't be paying income tax. How much money would you have every month in your paycheck if you did not have to pay income tax? A ton. A ton. And this isn't just like, meh, you know, maybe you won't pay income tax. Trump said, we're going to start investment accounts for babies. And people were like, yeah, whatever. Oh, what has happened? Oh, they're starting investment accounts for babies. And then what happens? Oh, Michael and Susan Dell give $6 billion so that 25 other kids can get in on the game too. Wait, what? Progress? People who steal and grift and lie and connive and thieve do not like transparency. They don't like bright lights. They don't like honesty. And they don't like progress. Hence, Trump, war criminal. What? Trump says Americans may soon pay no income tax as White House explores alternative revenue streams. What has the guy been saying? It's on his campaign agenda. If anybody was paying attention, and we were. Next to, we're going to blow up all these people who are trying to kill our people with these narco boats. We're also going to dismantle the Department of Education. Done. We're also going to deport the largest deportation agenda ever in American history. Done. We're also wanting to eliminate the IRS, and we'd like to bring in the ERS, the External Revenue Service. What's external about it? Oh, I don't know. All the companies, or countries rather, that have been boning us for the last, 50 years with unfair trade deals. What do we think all these negotiations have been about? And the left howled. Tariffing other countries? Oh my God. Trump's like, are you kidding me? We got $21 trillion so we can get right now. And then why are we paying taxes? Keep your money. Work hard. Keep your money. Let's let other countries pay our taxes. Novel idea. But if you do that, then you don't have to raise people's taxes all the time. And if you don't have to raise people's taxes all the time, Democrats can't slide in all of their, well, you'll have to pass it to see what's in it. Crap. That led to the Somali whatever going on in Minnesota, where there's billions of dollars of fraud. It's all kind of basic, isn't it? We're gonna find one thing that's been unfair, and it's been abusing the hard work of the American people. It's been penalizing your creative everything, your products. You can't sell in other countries without being tariffed out the wazoo. Meanwhile, these other countries have been, up until now, been allowed to sell their stuff here, undercutting our prices and basically screwing over the Americans. And Trump said, why? He's been saying this for 40 years. This isn't anything new. If you go back and you listen to his stuff from the 1980s, Mr. Trump, are you planning on ever running for president? It sounds like you're running for president. I have no interest in being president. And he says, well, we've been getting screwed by unfair trade deals forever and a day. And he said in the Rose Garden in April, no mas. We're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to accept it anymore. It's not fair. It's called America First. That's what making America great again is. And yet the people on the left try to tell you, if you're MAGA, that you're extreme. And yet you say, I am extreme. I am extreme in my love of country. And I'm extreme in what I believe is best for my children and my family. And my extreme nature tells me, why am I paying 30% of my income to go to taxes that go to Somalians, or that go to Haitians, or that go to who knows who, or go to Nancy Pelosi? Anybody. Why are we doing that? And Trump said from the very beginning, why do we have an Internal Revenue Service? Let's get rid of it. Now, I know there are a lot of CPAs out there who are like, dang it, what are we going to do? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. No income tax. President Donald Trump suggesting Tuesday that Americans may not even have income tax to pay in the near future. Does Trump lie commonly? Do you find that the things that he says end up down the road getting dismissed or debunked, proven wrong? He's just blowing hot air. No. Why do you think he meets and speaks with anybody who will? I'll talk to anybody, he says. Anybody who wants to make a deal that's good for America, I'll be there. Why did Donald Trump go on that whirlwind tour? Went to Saudi Arabia, went to the Emirates. Where did he go? Why did he do that? He was selling America. This is the place to be. This is the only place to be. You people depend on our people to buy your stuff. And yet you want to sell your stuff to our people, and you don't want to give us a break on the cost. Not anymore. No. This one man has completely reset the global financial paradigm. He's pulled us away from the imperialists, right? He's pulled us away from the people who need you to pay high taxes so that they can have money to stay in control and need endless wars. Why do you think Donald Trump, in dealing with Russia and Ukraine, has completely carved out Canada and the UK? You guys are globalist imperialists? No. You guys need war. You need money. And war is the greatest money maker next to a once-in-a-lifetime global pandemic, if you can squeeze one in every now and again. So what is so dangerous? What is it the left hate so much about Donald Trump? Do you think they would hate him if all of a sudden their income tax went away? What would that do to Generation Z that's blaming him for what years of Democrat garbage have foisted upon us? Can you imagine? What happens when all of a sudden there is no more FICA or whatever in their accounts, on their sheets with their paycheck? What happens? They can buy homes. They can get married. Young men can feel like they've got some collateral to lure a young woman possibly into believing that he'll be a provider, right? Here's your president saying, I'm going to set up the next generation with these savings accounts that you can use. You could use to start a business. You can use to go to college, if that's even feasible for most people anymore. Or you can use to buy a house. Transformative thinking. It's not complicated. All he said was, in the not so distant future, I don't think you're going to have income tax. I wonder if the Supreme Court is listening to this, because they're supposed to be deliberating and making a decision that's pretty damn big. Does Donald Trump have the ability to tariff out the wazoo all of these other countries who've basically robbed us? They better say yes. They better say yes. So what do you think? How do you think that's going to move the scales of the next election? If you've got a Republican Party that is relentless on affordability, that digs into the real issues and buries itself in it, and finds every single which way to bring down the cost, say, of gas, down 7 cents this week. I didn't check it today. It might be down lower. You get enough of these things rolling downhill, the snowball gets really, really big. And enough young people, who will, by the way, represent 60% of our electorate in the next 10 years, will be reminded, who made that change for you? Who stopped that runaway train before it left you living in your parents' basement forever? President Trump. That is the ticket. I believe it'll happen, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think it's going to benefit me per se. I think there are going to be certain parameters of people who are going to be able to enjoy the no income tax, but I'm all for it. In fact, when we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, this is the ultimate FAFO story. It has to do with a zoo, a lion enclosure, and a guy who made a bad decision. And it's so applicable as an analogy to what we're going through in this country. I've got it for you. Let's see if I can connect the dots next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love it. Just 20 odd seconds. He doesn't just say stuff. What's going on Twitter? 2,600 people. Hi. I'm delighted you're here. If you were rumbling, we'd hit 3.5 already, but it's 3.28. This is a last minute plea. I think it's well past too late. I did not Disinfectwithsniper.com. Disinfectwithsniper.com. Sniper, hospital grade antibacterial disinfectant. Knockout. The greatest deodorizer you will ever have in your life. You have a stinky space in your house, whether it's the shoe drawer, it's the diaper genie, it's the litter box, it's your children's hockey equipment. You want to kill the germs, kill the odor? Boom. It's called Knockout. Then there's Harmony. Harmony. Harmony is great for fleas and ticks, bed bugs. What? Yeah. Lice. No more like going through your hair with a fine-tooth comb. Right? And then don't get me started on that dead weed brew stuff, the spray that kills anything that's invasive in your yard. You've got a strawberry plant that you can't kill, or mint. These things are awful. Ivy, any of these super, right? Dead, gone, see you later, not coming back. Thank you, Jesus. The spices. Hunt Chef spices. There's 12 of them. Oh, boy. All of them. How are they selling in one website? I don't know, because our friend is a mastermind. And he's got something coming up for, I think, Brock's birthday. You don't like it?
I don't.
Because you think he's going to lose money.
Yes.
Well, he's a big boy. He can decide.
Oh, well, it's not my call.
He's offering you guys something perhaps that is quite enticing. I am a mess today, so I beg your pardon. This poor guy that I'm about to tell you about. It's horrifying. It's horrifying, but also kind of funny. I mean, not funny.
No.
Curious. Can you imagine being at the zoo and watching it?
Can you imagine if they just... So I saw someone on Twitter, X, whatever, say, oh, they were arguing with the no income tax because they want to put a 30% tax on everything. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, some of us already pay 25 to 30%. And that's before we get our groceries that aren't taxed. So can you imagine if they said, okay, everybody's going to pay 10% in taxes.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to start a flat tax, excluding food, of 10%. So you're only paying 10% on what you buy, but you're only paying...
the rest can go to pay your water bill.
Yeah, right. I'd save a lot more.
Look, I barely browbeat you enough. We still need 150 to get to 3.5. Come on.
You people.
Come on.
You people.
How to deliver this particular story to you, but I feel like there are so many ancillary applicable analogies that we can make. So the headline comes from the Gateway Pundit. You ready? Man mauled to death after climbing into a lioness enclosure. Caged lion will not be euthanized. Now, right? At some point in your life, and we all get there is that FAFO moment. You're going to fart around, you're going to find out. We hope as parents and grandparents that our brethren, our kin, aren't going to do something life and death to find out. This dude apparently did, and it's kind of gnarly, but it's just so intriguing. Why would you kill a lion that's kept out of its natural habitat and put basically in some enclosure. Look, I love zoos. I'm not I believe in animal, no animal cruelty. And I get some people are like, the zoo is so cruel. And I understand. I'm just going to say I do like going to the zoo. I do. But if you fall or climb into the enclosure with the lions and then the lion mauls you and you're dead, can your family sue? And should they ask to put the lion down? Or is the lion doing what the lion does and you're just an idiot who decided to tempt said animal with fresh meat? Therein is a huge, huge paradox for the American people. Let's go. A 19-year-old man was fatally mauled by a lioness after illegally climbing into her enclosure at the Park Zubantico, whatever, Aruda Camara. It's wherever it is. It's some other place. Okay? It happened. The teenager, identified by local media as being Gerson Manuela Machado, scaled a wall over 20 feet, about 6 meters. That doesn't help me. Slipped past protective fencing and descended a tree inside the lioness's enclosure on Sunday. Horrified visitors watched as the big cat, named Leona, pounced almost immediately and dragged him behind a barrier. Though the man briefly reappeared, he was struck again and he died from his injury. So I'm imagining this big claw coming out. Can you imagine being there with your kids? You're like, let's go see what the polar bear is doing, kids, right? How absolutely mortifyingly disgusting. Oh my. Now, Machado was reportedly known to authorities for long-standing mental health issues, one would imagine, right? I'm not surprised by this. Nobody who's sane is like, you're kitty, right? I put some barbecue sauce on myself. I'm going to scale down this tree. What could possibly happen? You're a cat, right? I don't know. Right? It's mortifying. A child welfare counselor who had followed him for years said the guy had expressed a lifelong fascination with big cats. Well, there you go. In the wake of the tragedy, the zoo temporarily closed its gates and launched an internal investigation. Well, the investigation should be, I don't know, should you be able to, should it be the zoo's responsibility for completely safety proofing everything there? Or is there a bit of responsibility on the side of the people, right? There was a horrible story at the Pittsburgh Zoo not that long ago where a little boy was sitting on top of something and fell into an enclosure of the African painted dogs. And these dogs are like, and they killed him. And it was mortifying. And they're like, shut down the exhibit, get rid of the dogs, or watch your kids, right? And then was the nail biter discussion. What are they going to do with the lion? What do you mean, what are they going to do with the lion? The lion that was acting out of instinct when somebody got into its habitat that it didn't ask for, right? And it went and ate the guy? I don't know. We're going to leave it alone. Maybe give it a toothpick. I don't know. But we're not going to euthanize it. I mean, is that the dumbest? Brock, I mean, honest to God.
I equate it to if you break into someone's house.
And they shoot you.
Well,
it sucks to be you.
I have no empathy for you because you came into their house. You came into the lion's den.
Well,
the lair.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A little smattering of common sense from my trusty friend. I mean, it's horrible. But literally, are we going to bubble wrap the world to keep everybody safe? And when that doesn't happen, are we going to go then punish the person who does the right thing instinctively, who acts as the lioness? Or are we going to have a real conversation to be like, yo, that's unfortunate. That is just a sad, sad state of affairs. That is where we are, right? You've been thrown into the lion's den, ladies and gentlemen, and you are covered in sweet baby rays, right? Donald Trump is giving you that lifeline. He's like, how about you hold on to this? I got this. But he's the problem. Got it. Love that you've been here. I hope you come on back tomorrow. 2 more days this week. Do not miss a second. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.